and safeguarded visit, go to agmbasements.com. Your next report is 6:31. Now with the forecast, here's Natasha Ramsay.
It's going to be wet for the rest of the week, so I hope you got out
Look, it goes like this and then down. But that is an Afro Dutch hair. This one is actually mine. This is not a white girl's hair.
And in the afternoon is overcast, but I think we will be dry after about 1-2 p.m. 10
all the
degrees
major
is going to be that
food
daytime
groups.
high. Now, Wednesday up to 11, overcast, still some morning showers. It's also the gustiest day of the week, up to about 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. Rain heavy at times Wednesday night. That's going to carry forth into Thursday morning, 20 to 40 millimeters. The rest of Thursday will get on and off showers, even a risk of late-day thunderstorms with a high of 13. Tonight, we're down to a low of 6 degrees. Right now, it's still seasonal out there at 13 degrees.
Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Doug Ford sees it as the new semi-normal. We said this is a roadmap. It's not a calendar. It's a roadmap. So we're going to continue working hard, and I just encourage everyone, please continue following protocols. Premier today laying out a three-stage plan to get Ontario back on its feet to reopen the economy. No firm dates have been offered, but we'll walk you through it straight ahead.
This is 680 News.
I'm here with Bill Coy of Coy Brothers.
You don't like watermelon, something wrong with you.
We know what you do is important, and we're here to help by offering the essentials to keep you going with spring cleanups.
From litter pickers and heavy-duty garbage bags to work gloves and
litter pickers. Is that what this stick is called? A litter picker? Is that what it's called?
We can even ship equipment like Echo's most popular
some off the
commercial
radio every day.
floor, the PB8010.
Buy essentials online and ship to your door, or pick up gas up at Coy Brothers store.
1919 Wilson Avenue. KOYBROS.com.
We
I won't cry. I'm going to make sure that don't happen twice.
You're getting the answers to what you need to know about COVID-19.
And answers about your job and finances.
If you have a question, ask it at
All the flowers.
680news.com/answers.
680 News gets the answer. .680 News. York Regional Police are still looking for a puppy that was inside a vehicle stolen in Richmond Hill. The white Range Rover taken from in front of a condo on South Park Road near Leslie and Highway 7 around 4:30 yesterday. Police said they found the vehicle a short time later, but Prince, a 5-month-old husky and Pomeranian, not inside. His white and brown fur. You can see a photo of Prince on the York Police website.
So you have for not thinking of what the crackhead is going to think when they see you don't think
away from people when you're stuffed into a plane. In what for many is an anxiety-inducing video that went viral over the weekend, American Airlines passengers are seen on a nearly full flight from New York to Charlotte. Some passengers wearing masks, some not, all squeezed into a nearly full flight. In fact, the TSA says its numbers show for the first time since the crisis started, air passenger numbers picked up last week. Now airlines are figuring out how they'll block seats to socially distance passengers on board.
Duct tape. Why don't you just not sell that seat? Hey, if you don't have an aisle next to the seat, that's not your seat. It's very simple.
Inline fiberglass windows and doors. I am proud to be living and working here.
You know who's flying right now? Comedians, because they're starving and they got to make money.
To be part of this strong community, province, and country. At this time,
last year I had to uncover my face every 2 steps. Now I got to cover it every 2 steps.
To keep an eye on one another, especially the most vulnerable. Let's also come together in support of the heroes on the front lines. Together, we will get through this. Thank you.
While you are hopefully staying safe and healthy,
Triangles,
many
quarters.
of you are probably at home. Maybe use the time to spring clean, like that old car taking up space in your garage. When you donate your car to Cars for Kids, that old car lives on by giving kids a chance to succeed. You can donate online in the comfort of your home, and the pickup can be contact-free.
I can't eat it all in one sitting.
See for yourself how simple it is. Go to carsforkids.ca.
Because I'm anemic, I can't process the food fast enough, so I can't. They say, oh, your stomach shrinks. Yeah, sort of.
680 News Time, 626.
Now 680 Business Report, and at the Midtown Home Office, it is Richard Southern.
Well, my stomach can only take so much at a time.
As investors look forward to an easing of coronavirus lockdowns. The TFX picked up 221 points, gained 1.5% to 14,642. It's down about 14%, 13.5% or so on the year now. The Dow was up 358 points.
It's clean, or I wouldn't set it on the board.
24,133. Dow closing above its 50-day moving average. S&P 500.
I don't know what your fucking Bible says. Mine says look out for fucking Nazis, because they're going to kill your ass in a sneaky way.
Average. The U.S. states of Georgia, Oklahoma, and Alaska are starting to loosen
We're deceased, brethren. What the fuck?
despite warnings on the contrary from public health officials. And the state of New York said it will open parts of the economy with precautions at some point after May 15th. So that kind of drove the optimism today. Price for oil sold off. It was down more than $4 or 24% to $12.78 per barrel. David's Tea reported fourth quarter sales that were down from a year ago. The stock fell 3 3/4% to 71 cents on Bay Street. CN Rail says it's withdrawing its profit forecast for the year due to uncertainty brought on by the pandemic.
That's going to be my brand name for watermelon. We're going to ship watermelons around the world.
In the Ticketmaster
Petit Negre Blanche.
Almost 10% to $42.01.
Hey, you got the Petit Negre Blanche watermelon. Yay, even the white niggas love that shit. Oh, you can't say that in English. You can say it in French.
7% of the company. Saudi Arabia's wealth fund has previously taken a big bet on the beat down Carnival Cruise Lines, and now it's Live Nation. Tesla shares up more than 10%, $798. The car maker will restart parts of its California factory next week.
I can't eat all this. I can eat it all.
71.21 cents U.S. Top stories, only 60 seconds away. Right here on
680 I'm documenting everything, even the fact that my fucking appetite all fucked up.
Is offering deferred.
Oh, I'm starving inside, but I can't eat anymore.
And third mortgages based solely on sufficient
Can't
home equity,
process this
despite
food.
income or credit to help.
It takes oxygen to metabolize food because it's burning it.
Savers.ca. That's S-A-V, like Victor.
That's why your blood cells are red. Iron oxide. Rust.
Apply anytime at Savers.ca or call 416-493-1983.
Man, my timing's up. I gotta go back downstairs.
On May 2nd,
I think the coffee
Today
shop's staying open a
Showstopper
little bit
at
later than it
TSC will
was.
be the Beauty Bio Glow
You hear
Pro
me?
Microneedling Regeneration
6:30 is late, eh? Whoa.
Complete with
Fuck.
sculptor firming body cream.
What the fuck is
Easy
going
and
on with this
comfortable
fucking
to
world,
use in
man?
just 60 seconds a day. Microneedling helps stimulate skin with painless exfoliation.
Oh, it's
and
not that the woman
deep
runs the place can't
rejuvenation.
figure out how to run a
Clinically
business. It's
proven
the other way
skin.
around.
Get it
She
on
can't
May
have enough.
2nd.
She's got
When it's a
no
Today
employees in there in
Showstopper.
months. They can't. They can't afford to have employees because they're not selling enough stuff, which means they can't cover the whole shift they used to cover.
And tonight, clear skies.
There's no choice but to open an hour later, close a couple hours early. No choice.
New clouds and a high of 10. Looking ahead to Wednesday, cloudy with light morning showers, heavy rain in the evening, and windy overnight. High of 11.
I almost feel sorry for the students or whatever she was hiring, but that's a level removed beyond me for them to be able to do anything. Oh, that is pipe tobacco. And the beautiful thing, I got a totally different brand with the same pipe tobacco. What?
This is Monday, the
Don't start smoking if you don't already, but if you are a tobacconist,
Being called a guide, but if you thought
Oh, it
Ontario's plan
smells
to
so
ease
sweet.
COVID-19 restrictions would have a timeline, you'll
I
be
touched it to my
disappointed by
nose.
the
I just
three-stage
did it again.
process.
I know.
Health officials also outlined the specific guidelines
It's
for
dry.
reopening, including a consistent 2 to 4 week decrease in the number of new daily COVID-19 cases.
The city of Toronto launches Curb TO to help stop the spread of COVID-19. It's closing parts of traffic lanes to give people more physical distancing space.
Oh, so walking in the gutter lane just became socially acceptable. Thank you, sir. Please don't drive in the gutter
He was
lane.
shot within seconds of getting into an SUV.
That's
Still
horrible.
a lot of unanswered sporting questions coming out of the province's three-phase plan to reopen the economy, and Joe Ward has retired from the NHL. Sports at
Where's my
45.
blue rag? It's up there because it's clean and
We're
dry.
looking at how long Porter Airlines says it's going
The
to
kid was wearing a blue hooded sweater. Got my attention.
Making changes to its theater
It's
schedule.
either
TSX
Crip
up
blue or
200
blood red. I'm
points.
gonna pay
Business at
attention, eh?
56.
You got my attention, dog.
680 News Time,
They
6:30.
drive an Audi, eh?
together on the ones brought
What
to
are
by
you,
your
some
local
white
Ontario
supremacist
Subaru
type?
dealers.
Take over the drug business and enslave the Negroes and fuck the white kids and think they're black too, eh? Something like that. Oh, you see how I'm all fucking paranoid. I'm gonna smoke this joint and get back to hauling garbage.
Restrictions elsewhere.
Do it your asses when I can, eh?
400 through Highway 89, 2 left lanes are closed. On the eastbound 407, approaching Britannia to approaching Dairy.
I'll call the cops for shit like that. I call the cops for people hurting children and dogs. The non-emergency property crimes that you motherfuckers tried doing in the first couple weeks of the emergency order. Yeah. Didn't I? And you didn't come back and do more, did you? No, you didn't. With these murders, I don't see the cops helping us. I don't see anything I can do to help the cops, or the cops can help me help them. I'm gonna deal with you on a different fucking level,
There's
dog.
also construction on the southbound side, but northbound is very heavy.
Oh,
from
some
approaching
kid I don't
Temple
even
Street.
know. Blah, blah,
Ontario
blah, blah,
Subaru
blah.
dealerships are standing by and ready
I just
to
made
help
it my
with your
business,
essential
buddy.
automotive needs. Keep taking care of each other, and
Oh,
Subaru
mind my
will take
concerns,
care of you.
concern myself
Your
with my
next report is at
concerns. What you doing
6:41.
rolling down the hood in an
Here's
Audi,
Natasha
bro? A
Ramsay.
white Audi. That's so
All right,
fucking
so
Nazi.
probably not going to be
I
sitting
can't
out on the
even fucking
patio this
describe
week
it.
or on your balcony, especially if you live near the lake. The midges are out anyway, so that's not going to happen. We've got some showers to deal with in the morning, 6 degrees at
midges,
your
those are
start
bugs,
temperature.
right?
Drizzle will last up until about 1-2 p.m. After that, we're dry through the afternoon, cloudy and cooler at 10 degrees. And then Wednesday,
she's gonna be gone
another
by the
round of
time I
early
get back
morning
down
showers.
there, eh?
Overnight tonight, we're down to a low 6 degrees.
That's
right
only
now,
happened
it's
once,
13
I
degrees
think.
at Pearson.
That's the 680 News.
Twice, once or twice.
The Ford government is planning ahead today, revealing its three-phase plan to ease restrictions put in place to
It's
stop
not a
the
9 to
spread
5
of
fucking
COVID-19.
job. It's throughout the day. So yeah, once or twice in the last 4 months.
But first, 680's Irene Precla
Trust me,
joins us
my
with the
boys were out there to see what
three-phase
going on.
plan.
Nothing bad happened.
Outlining what it is calling
No
the
harm, no
framework
foul.
on easing
No harm, no
COVID-19
foul.
restrictions. Premier
US
Doug
Army
Ford
at your
says
service.
this is not a
Clean up crew.
calendar with definite timelines.
This framework is a roadmap. It will guide our collective decision-making. It lays out the threshold we need to hit, the targets we need to work towards.
The framework has 3 stages, each lasting 2 to 4 weeks. And if there is a worsening of the
SAMA
situation,
is
we
the
could
first
go back to
medicine given us
stage.
by Gazoo.
Stage 1 could
Creator.
include opening select workplaces that can modify operations, as well as opening some parks. Stage 2 could include opening more businesses and allowing some larger public gatherings. While Stage 3 would open all workplaces, there would still be no large sporting events or concerts.
So not all
Irene
workplaces,
So
right?
how long might
Right,
each
right.
phase of this plan last? 680's Michelle Mackey is finding out and joins us with that breakdown. Michelle.
Well, Sajana, Health
Well, here's the
Minister
other thing too.
Christine Elliott
If she's
says
staying open a few minutes
virus
later, it's because
spread
there's
and
customers.
containment,
If there's customers, ain't nobody gonna get away with robbing the place, right?
Public health
Right.
system capacity, and
That's why you don't see me
incidence
there at 7 in the morning.
capacity are the key
Or
thresholds
the lineup
that
of
must
fucking
be met
customers.
before
You're gonna
any
jack the place in front of them,
reopening
they're gonna
happens.
kill you. You interfering with my coffee, dog? Fuck you. I've been waiting since 8 o'clock last night for this coffee. I'm gonna whoop your ass with one hand and sip my coffee with the damn other hand. No, you don't want to fuck with this neighborhood,
to
dog.
ensure effective surveillance.
Once met, each stage in the reopening plan will be monitored.
We're very
by public
reasonable. Oh,
health
the coffee
officials
shop
for
has to
2
close
4
early.
weeks.
Okay.
But how far away
I
are
get
we
it in the
from
morning?
phase
Okay.
1? Ontario's
You gonna
Chief Medical
fuck with her
Officer,
so that I can't get my
Dr. David
no,
Williams
no,
says
no.
we are still
No.
in the pandemic phase based on the number of daily new cases.
Remember, this started last summer when y'all smashed up the fucking window to the place, eh? And they didn't have the money to replace it, eh? It's boarded up.
To go before we get to start our first 2-week period.
Reporting live, I'm Michelle
It's
Mackey.
almost a year adopted this
Canadian
business,
military
I guess you
personnel
could
began
say.
arriving at long-term care
Oh, I always
homes
look
here in
out for my
Ontario.
community.
Premier Ford made the formal request for help last week. Long-term care homes in the GTA have been particularly hard hit. Members of the military arrived at the Eatonville Care Center in Etobicoke, Hawthorne Place in New York, and that was around 1
So
o'clock.
officially in
Later
Canada,
on
it's a
as well,
45-degree
personnel are
angle,
expected to be
easy enough,
deployed
but
to Orchardville in
right
Pickering.
hand. Left hand, I'm looking at the floor, it's First Nations. Left tank's right hand's holding garbage.
The city's launched curb
It's a
team
gang
to
sign,
address
bro.
over 100
You might be looking at me,
pedestrian
I might be
congestion
standing
hotspots
in a
Toronto
mirror
during the
window
COVID-19
and you see my reflection,
crisis.
might be why it's
Tells us
backwards,
the program
eh?
involves closing some lanes of traffic. Phil.
So, Jenna, the idea is by closing some traffic lanes, you can give pedestrians more
Reach out
physical
and touch
distancing
someone with the
space.
40
Now, Mayor Joan Torres says the
matchsticks
city
to
will
the
be
lip.
rolling out fixes
Split
at an initial
ends
10
on the
spots
bend
across
in
the
the
city
benzo.
starting today.
Selling benzo.
Primarily, the hotspots and pinch points are where there is sidewalk crowding and temporary parking concerns
Wait for it.
that tend to be around essential businesses, which are still open.
Can you tell them to
and
stop
serving
parking in that
vital
parking lot? It
community
belongs to Vincenzo Barrazo,
Grocery
motherfucker.
stores, Pharmacies, restaurants, community agencies are increasingly offering pickup, takeout, and other kinds of contact curbside. This has in turn sometimes created lineups outside of their premises.
Now, the initiative will expand to over 100 locations
Oh,
across
the
the city.
assholes
Right now,
creating the
initial
problem here are not
response
customers.
includes
They're going to the grocery store, parking here, and then standing in line 30 fucking minutes. Why? Go park over there, stupid.
Parking pickup zones for drivers, allowing them to park for up to
Oh,
10
it's
minutes
full.
in
Well,
close
that means you shouldn't go in
proximity
there.
to an essential
It's not
business
full,
in
is it? No,
otherwise
it's not, is it?
restricted parking areas. Phil Martino, 680 News.
This is Almost Radio.
I drive, eh? Not right now. Why drive? I've noticed
shooting death of a teen in North
there's
York.
signs. If you just keep driving, you will find a sign or a driveway or a parking spot. You just keep going until the sign says you can stop, and then you stop. You drive in places that say don't stop here, don't park here.
Henri Marsman says Jeremiah was shot within 15 seconds of getting into a white
I counted
SUV
12.
just before 6 Sunday evening.
There was some sort of interaction inside the vehicle. Both youths fled.
The man
The
looked, eh?
managed
He bled to death.
flee a short distance before he was collapsed, probably about 20 meters. He suffered one gunshot wound to the hip.
This all happened at 1884 Shepherd Avenue West, not far from James Street. Marsman says
That's interesting because where I eat is 1884 Davenport.
just before he went outside.
Straight line north,
Marsman
right?
will not comment on the likelihood of the at least 2 people in that SUV planning on killing Jeremiah, or whether or
It was
not
a setup.
Jeremiah may have started the violence himself. You'll find surveillance camera images
doubt
of
that.
Jeremiah
I
and
doubt
another
that.
boy
That don't
getting
look
into
right.
and out of the SUV.
It doesn't
at
look like that. It don't look like that to me. I've
Outside
seen a lot of
31
these
Division
things go down,
headquarters,
right?
I'm Mark
People
Douglas.
getting in and out of cars to
Trudeau
do
government has
things
seen a
and
quick
words
surge
get
as
spoken.
applications open today for the
Fuck
federal
you,
wage
nigga. Fuck
subsidy.
you too.
A big response right out of the gate for this wage subsidy. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says in the first 5 hours, around 10,000 companies submitted applications. It's believed by the end of the program, more than 1 million businesses will be receiving this assistance. The subsidy will see the feds pay up to
Nationalization, eh?
75%
Holy
of a
fuck.
company's payroll to a maximum of $847
Don't fuck with
per
Canada. I've been
employee
telling
per
you
week. But the Prime Minister has a
15
message for
for what,
workers who
10
may get
fucking
rehired
years.
under this
Don't
subsidy.
fuck
You will
with
no
Canada,
longer
eh?
qualify for the emergency
You thought I
response
was
benefit
joking.
of $2,000 a month.
You won't be able to keep both the wage subsidy and the CERB. It's one or the other.
On reopening the economy, Trudeau
I
says they're
love
putting
that.
final touches on shared guidelines between the feds and provinces, and they'll release them in the coming days. He warns this needs to be a cautious approach, evoking lessons learned from the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic.
The spring was pretty bad, but the fall was much worse. We need
We'll cover
to
that
stay
tonight.
vigilant every step of the way.
Otherwise, we risk sparking a second wave of infections. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Mental health has been one of the most consistent undercurrents of discussion during this pandemic. Today, we're finding out just how Canadians are doing right now.
50% of Canadians say their mental health has gotten worse since this pandemic hit. That's according to a new survey by the Angus Reid Institute. Shachi Krul is the executive director.
This isn't just about money. It's also about a sense of isolation and really what feelings of worry and anxiety and uncertainty are in essence doing to people's sense of emotional well-being.
The survey shows over 40% of people across this country are feeling worried or anxious, but there's still lots of Canadians trying to see the bright side.
They're feeling gratitude, and indeed 1/3 of Canadians say that that is the most significant word that describes how they've been feeling in recent weeks.
It shows
There's a
1/3 of
Nazi
Canadians
on
are
the
in the
floor.
hardest hit group, feeling both the financial and mental effects of the pandemic.
You didn't know I knew what Nazi was.
This is
did you?
680 News.
I
Police
might be
across the
saying it
GTA
wrong.
are seeing a spike in the number of phishing scams during this pandemic. Detective Sergeant John
Yeah, they
Bernard of the
tried
Toronto
selling
Police
me
Cybersecurity Squad says they are
some
in the
fucking
form of
sardines
emails
telling
and
me
text
it was
messages.
salmon.
COVID
Motherfuckers.
remote access logins for businesses. We're seeing a lot of fake employment insurance payment transfers. A lot of people are getting CRB notices sent to their text messages to click on some links. These are all aimed at
This
stealing
shit's
your
brand new
financial
and they're already
information.
scamming it
He
in.
says there have also been
Just
scams
came
involving
out.
selling fake test kits, masks, and hand sanitizer. He's telling people never share your payment information online unless you know who you're dealing with.
What y'all deal with?
Is always changing.
Do you know who you're dealing with?
Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day.
This is 680 News.
Ask to play us on your smart
Red
speaker.
foil.
Now the 680 News gas price update and pro predicting the price will not
Suicides,
change at midnight.
3,900. Car accidents, 2,900. Alcohol, 1,900. Murders, 510. Tobacco, 45,000.
Visit productoftheyear.ca. From the buzziest beauty products and
That's
Lux
more people
culinary
than die from
finds to
heroin, isn't it?
cutting-edge
That's
appliances
more
and also
people
good
in your
sleep.
city that
Thousands
die
of
from this than
Canadians have
heroin.
voted for the most
Buddy tried
innovative
saying
new
weirdo
products
things
for
the other day.
2020.
Yeah.
The world's largest
I don't start kids on this shit, but this is a way worse drug to sell than crack. This is a way worse drug to sell than crack. If you want to think of yourself as a big bad man, no. Harm reduction. I only serve people already hooked. They're older than me. All my customers older than me. I'm the last of the smokers. The people younger than me all vaporize like it's a joke, right?
The 404 steals right now, an easy drive on all the 400 series highways and all the city expressways as well. Everything's moving quite well. A bit of construction.
And I've said before, I don't blame my family, I blame or the cigarette companies, I blame the government.
And the Britannia ramp to the eastbound 407, both east and westbound, closed off. I should say the east and westbound Britannia ramp to eastbound 407 was closed off. You can still go westbound on the northbound 400 through Highway 89. Left lane closed down for construction, and southbound 400 through 89. 2 left lanes closed for construction. From the 680 Traffic Center, Christine Langos.
We have single-lane construction affecting north and southbound Don Mills at the Don Valley Parkway, but no big delay through that area right now. North and southbound Toro Bram from north of Derry to Rena Road, also down to a single lane for construction, and it had been very busy in the northbound direction. It looks like it's easing somewhat as the evening wears on. East and westbound Finch between Sentinel and east of Kiel, we've got the right lane closed each way for construction. To help you stay safe and at home, Lowe's is offering free parcel shipping and curbside pickup with online purchases at Lowe's.ca. Your next report is at 6:51. Now with the forecast, here's Natasha Ramsahai.
And we are looking at some showers moving in right around 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. We'll start the day off at 6 degrees, and it looks like that'll switch over to drizzle, ending by about 1, 2 p.m. Then we're dry through the rest of the afternoon and evening. We're back to below seasonal, though. It's 10 degrees, feeling cooler with a breeze off the lake. Windy Wednesday, gusts up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, and we've got still some lighter morning showers, but it's Wednesday,
for a half
evening,
Irish, half
overnight,
Mexican
and into
cholo.
Thursday morning. That's when the heaviest
What, in
rain
a
of the
hood
week
movie?
will fall. So coming down heavy at times, 20 to 30, even up to 40 millimeters
Yeah,
possible.
my dad was in the
Just pretty much a
IRA,
half a
and
month's
he
worth of
ran,
rain in
ended
a
up in
day.
LA,
11
hooked up
degrees
with
the
my
high on
mom.
Wednesday. Overnight tonight, we're down
Shut
to
up! You just gotta say
degrees.
shut
It is
up at the
currently
right
13
point,
degrees
and you can
Pearson.
get away with any role
In
in
the
any
U.S.,
movie.
the Los Angeles Lakers received money from a program to help small businesses during the pandemic.
The LA Lakers have been valued at over
So when I
$4
come back, we're
billion.
gonna finish this. You
Yet
think
the
I'm gonna
team
not
still
eat it? I'm
got
gonna eat it.
$4.6 million from the Paycheck
I realized I
Protection
couldn't eat the whole
Program.
thing now. I would have
Lakers,
started
one
the
of
video. I would have
NBA's
took off
most
those
profitable
things from
teams,
bed.
applied for relief and was granted the money,
I
but
was
says
so
it's returning
hungry.
it. The team saying once it found out
still
funds from the
hungry.
PPP
Yeah, I
had
can't
been
explain
depleted,
it.
the
I was so-
Lakers
my
repaid
stomach's
the
full, but I'm
loans. The money
starving.
could go to a place where
My
it was
whole body's
needed.
starving.
The program ran out of money in less than 2 weeks, leaving many small businesses unable to get help. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Yeah, so in years past, when I did use the food bank, if I could make it to the last day of the month, didn't need the food bank, I didn't use it. But I would try to wait as far into the month as possible.
The Canadian economy, small businesses. We'll travel across Canada.
And I would consider too, like,
about the dreams and what's happened since COVID-19.
it's going to be 3 days before it's open again, right? So anything fresh might have to get tossed out, type things. So at the end of the day, I'd be like, okay, I'll use it today.
By helping your clients create productive and purposeful cultures. She has an amazing business, and then COVID-19
Run out.
arrives and everything turns upside down. Lisa needs to reposition. Canada's thought leaders step in with advice for her and for all of us. Download Chatter That Matters wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks again to RBC for your support of Small Business Matters.
This is All News Radio.
I could have brought this outside with me and done that outside.
Still mainly sunny in downtown Toronto, 12 degrees. We're going down to an overnight low of 6. Good evening from the 680 News Broadcast Center. I'm Sljana Tominzik.
And I'm James Monroe. Here's what's making news right now.
No set date, but the province now has what it calls a roadmap to reopening Ontario safely post-pandemic. The Ford government.
By the way,
says it's
only
starting
once
safety
in these
measures.
thousands of videos,
There
only
could be
once
fewer
blew
cases
tobacco
reported
smoke at the
daily in
lens by
public health.
accident.
Unit has to be able to
I
contact
only do that with the
cases
weed
within a day
smoke.
for tracking. Each stage could last 2 to 4 weeks. The food and alcohol delivery at Foodora, leaving the
Yeah, I
Canadian
remember
market
every
saying it
stupid
hasn't
little.
been able to
Oh,
reach the level of
pounding some,
profitability
bouncing some guy's head off the side. Well, I forget about that till someone reminds me. I blew smoke, tobacco smoke at the lens of the camera. That might influence a kid. That stays in my head. Eh?
More room to move around. Some of the hotspots include Carlton and Church, Danforth and
I'm
Broadview,
dying by the time you see all this.
Downtown, and
This is
Bay
just a
Street
documentary of what really went on in Toronto West End. And you can watch how the regular people knew what was going to happen. Because I keep telling you, these people tell me what's going on. I tell you what's going to happen next. Lansdowne and DuPont, hot spot for traffic. All the businesses are doing what they're supposed to. And we still got zombies. Even the businesses, I got a beef with the Persian guy, to be honest. But the lineup is spaced out. They're not breaking that rule. He's a racist piece of shit, but he's not breaking that rule. So, you know how hard it is to prove Ontario human rights tribunal shit, employment law shit, racism with employment.
Has a lot of questions. You know, when they talk about sporting events, do they mean sporting events? Are they saying sporting events with a crowd? Because sporting events without a crowd are an entirely different proposition.
Sporting events without a crowd are curling and bowling.
No, and like there was the potential that hockey NHL games could be played in Toronto. The league has talked about it. There are reasons why it would make sense.
647
NBA has
DM.
told its teams that the use of practice facilities can start up no sooner than May 8th in places where stay-at-home orders are lifted, but a lot of restrictions are in place. For instance, only 4 players can work out at one time, and players can't train anywhere else, only at the practice facility. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour, or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
Hi, I'm Sean O'Brien, President and CEO of Reliance Home Comfort. Despite everything that's going on, we know that some of you still need air conditioning, hot water, or plumbing help.
Oh, I know. I could bullshit and just hide it and walk down the stairwell with it anyway. Couldn't I?
24 hours a day,
But not act this way.
but also taking steps to make everything safe for you, your family, and our team. We're grateful to our customers and indebted to our team members at Reliance. We'll get through this together. Thank you.
At BDO Debt Solutions, they know that life is full of unexpected events that can weaken your financial well-being. Many people who come to BDO for help had to go through tough times and take on debt in order to survive. If you're experiencing difficulty, a BDO licensed insolvency trustee can provide a free initial consultation and offer you services over the phone to explain all your debt relief options and help you find a solution that works for you and your family. Call 1-855-BDO-DEBT to book a free over-the-phone consultation.
This is 680 News. Porter Airlines is pushing back the resumption of its flights. The airline stopped flying on March 21st with a plan to restart flights on June 1st. That plan is now being changed, with the restart date pushed forward by 4 weeks to June 29th. Porter CEO and President Michael Deleuze says in a statement, while there are many promising signs about how COVID-19 is being contained, travel is still difficult. So the airline has made these adjustments based on the public health response. Porter is also waiving change and cancellation fees on all fares booked by June 29th, which also applies to Porter Escape vacation packages. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker. Conservative leader Andrew Scheer now condemning controversial comments from one of his MPs after refusing to do so last week.
Those are not the positions of myself nor this caucus. I certainly don't believe it's acceptable to question people's loyalty. We can have differences of opinion as to what should or shouldn't have been done, but I think that is an unacceptable place to take the conversation.
Scheer would not say if MP and leadership candidate Derek Sloan will face any disciplinary action for his remarks. Last week, Sloan posted a video on social media calling for Chief Public Health Officer Dr. Theresa Tam to be fired and then questioned if she worked for Canada or China. A city official in California is stepping down after a Zoom meeting call in which he was seen tossing his cat.
It was a remote city meeting when Vallejo Planning Commissioner Chris Platzer was asked to speak. But before he said what he wanted to say...
Okay, first I'd like to introduce my cat.
That thump was his cat hitting something. He tossed the cat off the screen. He was also reportedly seen drinking a beer during that Zoom meeting. Now Platzer is resigning. In a statement saying he apologizes and says we're all living in uncertain times and he's adjusting to a new normalcy. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Ford and General Motors in the States are planning to restart production at some plants as early as this week.
Building cars has been on hold since mid-March for many auto manufacturing plants across the country, but this week Ford and GM say they plan to reopen some facilities amid new strict safety protocols. Workers will undergo health screenings, including temperature checks, and will adhere to new social distancing rules. UAW President Rory Gamble has pushed back on restarting work,
saying the union does not believe the scientific data is conclusive. It's unclear which facilities will reopen and how many employees will return to work. Ryan Burrow, ABC News.
680 News Time, 6:51.
Traffic and weather together on the ones brought to you by City TV and Chopper 680. Here's Jordan Kerr.
Well, highways and expressways are moving well. We just have a bit of construction on the go on the eastbound 407, approaching Britannia to approaching Derry. Single lane construction, only the left lane's getting through. But because of that, the east and westbound Britannia ramps to eastbound 407 are closed off. Once those lanes are open again, they can open the ramps. And on the 400 northbound at Highway 89, left lane's closed. Southbound at Highway 89, 2 left lanes are closed. Everything else is just fine and dandy. From the 680 Traffic Center, here's Christine Lagos.
We have single lane construction affecting your drive north and southbound along Torbrand from north of Derry to Rena Road. Again, it's down to a single lane, mainly affecting the northbound direction. Southbound is looking pretty good. North and southbound John Mills at the John Valley Parkway also down to a single lane at this time. Get the latest news affecting our community every night on City News at 6 and 11, only on City TV. Your next report is at 7:01. And now with the forecast, here's Natasha Ramsahine.
All right, hope you enjoyed that sunny day, because that's pretty much it until Saturday. It's going to be overcast through much of the week. We've got showers early tomorrow morning. Start temperature of around 6 degrees. And then the afternoon, I wait until after about 2 p.m. We should be dry after that, but overcast and cooler at 10 degrees. Wednesday is pretty windy. Gusts up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. We've got some morning showers, but it's Wednesday, late afternoon, evening, overnight, and into Thursday morning. That's the period of the heaviest rain for the week, 20 to 40 millimeters, 11 degrees on Wednesday. Then Thursday, I think we could get a couple of peaks of sunshine very briefly, but that's going to fuel some a risk of late day thunderstorms. Thursday's high 13, showers Friday and 14, just waiting for the weekend, 18 to 20 degrees on the way. Overnight tonight, we're down to a low of 6 degrees. Right now, it's 13 degrees at Pearson.
This extended forecast is brought to you by Dynamic Funds. In times like these, we could all use advice, especially when it comes to investing. Advice matters now more than ever. Speak to a financial advisor and learn more at dynamic.ca/advice.
At this difficult time, New Life Fertility Center wishes you good health and safety and thanks the government for helping lift the financial burden. It's been hard, but from this hardship will come new life. And when you start yours, consider partnering with New Life Fertility. Don't worry about the cost, because New Life also stands by you financially with the guaranteed lowest IVF cost, just $7,900, and the highest success rate. Terms and conditions apply. NewLifeFertility.com.
Know the moment it happens.
Subscribe to 680 News breaking news alerts on your mobile.
Powered by the Monitoring Center Home Security.
Visit 680news.com.
COVID-19 safety concerns are closing the curtain on hotly touted theater shows planned by the Stratford Festival and Mirvish Productions. The Stratford Festival's entire 2020 season is on hold until it's safe to gather in theaters. It was supposed to run April 11 through November 1st. Here in Toronto, Mirvish is delaying the September launch to January 2021. Precautions: suspended theater shows in mid-March, halting audience favorites, including Mirvish's Hamilton and Come From Away, and forcing Stratford to scrap its April and May shows. Mirvish says the largely Toronto-based cast and crew of Come From Away can be ready to relaunch if public health officials deem it safe, suggesting they would need very little time to get the show up and going again. Business is next.
This is 680 News. You'll hear it here
First, breaking news when it happens.
on 680 News.
How much money would you like to save just by doing something you're already doing? 15 or 25%? How about 30%? With Allstate, safe drivers can save 30% just by doing something they're already doing. Driving safe. That's right, 30% just by driving safe. Visit allstate.ca or call a local agent for a quote today and see just how much you can save when you drive safe with Allstate.
Search Save 30% with Allstate for more information. Terms and conditions apply.
Be the first to know breaking news as soon as it happens. 680 News.
Hi, I'm Cherry Tabb, co-founder of the Herzig Eye Institute. Our eyes play such an important role in the spread and prevention of COVID-19. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Wash your hands often, and be vigilant about cleaning door handles and other surfaces that are touched frequently. If you wear contact lenses, consider wearing your glasses. Your health is what matters most to us. Google high-definition vision and sign up for my blog so we can stay connected. Look after yourself. Promise me.
6 City News Time, 6:56.
Now the 6 City News Business Report. Here's Richard.
Good evening. Grounded Porter Airlines says all its planes will remain on the ground at Billy Bishop Airport until the end of June. Porter hasn't flown a single flight since March 21st and says it won't until June 29th.
Favors and errands and favors and errands.
But CEO Michael
Coffee shop woman did not leave
pushing
yet.
that schedule
But she's
back.
there now.
Like all airlines, it's been hard hit, perhaps more so than the rest of them, because it hasn't flown a single flight since the end of March. Porter has previously
Why am I
issued
weighing a
temporary
toonie? I'm not weighing
notices
a toonie with
to
the
most of its
$5
1,500
billboards.
staff
Wow.
members. All right, to King Street next. Rouge Productions, biggest
just get into
theater
that without
company
weighing
in
a
the
toonie.
city, is postponing the beginning of its new season until 2021, until January
You know what?
due to the
I
pandemic.
was going to give her that.
David Miller says the company will still show all
I don't
the
believe it.
shows that previously
0.50.
announced
I don't
will
believe it.
start in January,
I
not
turned the
September.
camera, but why? It doesn't show you the numerals. Just that it's
Season eight,
orange.
Andrew Lloyd Webber
Same
musicals Love Never
damn
Dies and
orange
Jesus Christ
as
Superstar. Murray said if half of the shows
Tupac's
give the okay, they'll get
car
their film from
phone
away production up and
my
running.
phone.
Look at these
Isn't that a
big-time
coincidence?
Foodora, soon to be done in Canada. A story we've been talking about here on 680 News today.
Looney
The
Tunes shops are all
German-owned,
day. No, that's
food
not what I
delivery,
did. I just
app
made
company
change
says,
3
it'll
times.
make its
No
last delivery
idea.
in Canada on May 11th. It's citing the inability to be profitable. However, its decision to pull out comes just 2 months after the Ontario Labor Relations Board allowed its couriers to unionize. On the markets, the TSX higher up 221 points today to 14,000.
And I know his pocket was open. I knew it before I got out the door. I know. He's going to notice. Yeah, I know.
S&P up 1.5%, and the Nasdaq up 1.1%.
Is he
Retail
gonna take a
stocks
shortcut?
look good as a number of jurisdictions, both at home and abroad, detailed plans to open the economy. Canada Goose up 9%, Aritzia gained 8% on the day. Canadian dollar higher at 71.25 cents US. This is 680 News.
Put us on and find out what to wear. The best weather reports in the city every 10 minutes on 680 News.
David Jones here from Hire the Gardener. Yes, we're still open during COVID-19. The Gardener has put extreme measures in place to keep you and our staff safe and are only providing contactless essential services. Just watch and wave to us through the window. With that in mind, help us honor a hero. Visit hirethegardener.com and nominate a frontline worker who could win free service this season. Help us thank the people keeping us safe. Visit hirethegardener.com.
We make sure you're the first to know.
680 News.
Need something to watch? Binge away the boredom with City TV Now.
Where would you like to go?
Full seasons of the shows you love. Streaming now and ready to go.
I'm pregnant.
Sure it's yours? You got a fire in there. From Chicago Wednesday to Family Guy, Modern Family to Mom, we've got what you're looking for. Even Hudson and Rex. Good boy. City TV Now. On demand, the City TV app, and at citytv.com. Get it like now.
Now, 680 News regional weather conditions for Walmart.
At Walmart, it's not business as usual, but our commitment to our associates remains the same. We've reduced store hours, added in-store safety measures, and increased the hourly wage.
In Markham, mainly clear, 15 degrees. Ajax, clear and 12. Mississauga, mainly clear and 13. Oakville, mainly clear and 14 degrees. Hamilton, partly cloudy and 12. In Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge, mainly clear and 15 degrees. Downtown Toronto right now, mainly clear still and 13 degrees. We're going down to an overnight low of 6 degrees under a mainly cloudy sky. In the morning, it'll be cloudy with a drizzle, 7 degrees. And then tomorrow afternoon, we climb up to a high of 10 under a mostly cloudy sky. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 7 o'clock.
Number one for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Here are James Monroe and Slijana Tominzik.
Good evening. It's Monday, April 27th.
Here's what's making news right now. Premier Doug Ford calls it a roadmap, not a calendar, as the province releases the framework for reopening Ontario's economy, which does not include a timeline.
Before the economy reaches each stage of reopening, specific health criteria outlined by Ontario's top health officials must be met.
The City of Toronto has launched a new initiative aimed at helping to stop the spread of COVID-19. It involves shutting down parts of traffic lanes to give pedestrians more space to maintain physical distancing.
The NBA has pushed back their target date for reopening practice facilities, as we won't be seeing fans at sporting events in Ontario for quite some time. Sports at 15.
Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund makes a huge bet on a company that's been badly beaten up during the outbreak. We'll let you know what stock rallied on that news today. TSX was up 221 points. Business at 20 cents.
680 News Time, 7:01.
Traffic and weather together on the ones, Christine Legas.
And I'm just having a look at the eastbound Gardner right now at Park Lawn. It looks like we have some vehicles stationed over on the right shoulder. No delay, though, on the Gardner Expressway or the QEW. Most of our major routes are looking to be in good shape right now. We do have construction. It's getting set up all over the place. Eastbound 401 at Markham Road in the collectors, the left lane is blocked. And eastbound 401 at Port Union in the collectors, they've closed the left lane here as well. On the eastbound 407 from approaching Britannia to approaching Derry, it's down to a single lane only for construction. And the east and westbound Britannia ramps to eastbound 407 also closed because of this work. Northbound 400 at Highway 89, left lane is blocked. And southbound 400 at Highway 89, the two left lanes are closed off for construction. We also have single lane construction affecting north and southbound Don Mills at the Don Valley Parkway. So you might find a bit of a slow go through that area. Your next report is at 7:11. And now with the forecast, here's Natasha Ramsahai.
Overnight tonight, temperatures dropping to 6 degrees. We do have increasing cloud cover, so say goodbye to the sun for the majority of the rest of the week. We'll have some showers tomorrow morning, first half of the day, a couple of dry hours through the afternoon, a high of 10 degrees. That's going to feel cooler along the lake. And then Wednesday, still mainly cloudy. We'll likely be into a little bit of shower action in the morning, a couple of sunny breaks midday, and then rain. Steady, persistent rainfall Wednesday night, the high 11 degrees. Overnight tonight, we're down to a low of 6 degrees.
Downtown Toronto, mainly clear and 13 degrees. 680 News Time, 7:03.
Well, we begin tonight with the Ford government looking to the future, revealing how current safety measures will be lifted to reopen the province's economy post-pandemic.
This as Ontario reports 57 more deaths and 424 new cases of COVID-19. Here's 680's Irene Precklett. It's what many have been waiting for, wondering when Ontario will start to reopen. And today we heard from the Premier as well as several ministers about what that will look like. Doug Ford says the economy will reopen in 3 stages.
Well, we said this is a roadmap. It's not a calendar. It's a roadmap. So we're going to continue working hard, and I just encourage everyone, please continue following the protocols.
Stage 1 could include opening select workplaces, but there is little detail on that. It also includes allowing for more people at certain events and having hospitals resume some non-urgent surgeries. Stage 2 could include opening more businesses. Stage 3 would include having all workplaces open and further relaxing rules on public gatherings. The large ones, such as sporting events, would still be restricted. Each stage could last as little as 2 weeks or 4, and there could be a reversal, so this could take more than 3 months. I'm Irene Precklett.
With the 3-stage plan on the way, it does remain vague, and we're learning a bit about what needs to be met to move forward. 680's Michelle Mackey joins us live with that. Michelle.
Well, James, there are 4 primary health thresholds that must be met before any reopening can happen. Health Minister Christine Elliott says the first threshold is based on virus spread and containment.
Fewer daily cases of COVID-19.
Further, there must be sufficient acute and critical care capacity, and approximately 90% of new COVID-19
See, we've been doing basketball and hockey statistics for so long. We're like, hey, the statisticians can still work, right? They work at home anyway. Right? You tell us how many masks we have, how many dead bodies we have, how many. It's all on spreadsheets. And it interacts with, you can literally make it pop up on the screen like, oh, the leads in the
positive direction together.
Red Wings 3-2, like the same way it can pop up on a screen with graphics and all that.
Did we continue the downward trend, or did we actually start going
New
up
record,
again?
world champions, 10,000
wait
days.
there for a bit longer to see if we can correct that.
Reporting live.
It's all a matter of the text label you put on the number.
680 News. The city of Toronto says although pedestrian traffic is down dramatically, there are still some hot spots on sidewalks. 680's Phil Martino tells us the city's now launched Curb TO in an effort to deal with that pedestrian congestion. Phil. So, Jana, the first part of Curb TO involves closing
Nobody's never seen this shit
traffic
before.
lanes and spots where
No,
there's
he's got a bag of it downstairs,
traffic,
doesn't
and
know what
that
it
tends to be
is.
around essential businesses like grocery stores and pharmacies. The second part involves increasing access to
Me laughing is not racist. It's funny. He doesn't know what it is. What is this?
which are now at an all-time high. Now, Mayor John Tory says he knows there are some out there who want more than this.
And they want more than this now. More bike lanes, more extensive lane and street closures across the city.
Temporary everything.
I will continue
The pylons
to
and fast fence everywhere, or whatever the
company
company name
that we
is.
focus on encouraging people to stay home rather than closing long lists of roads.
Now, the program will initially target hotspots along 10 busy retail main streets for curb lane installations.
When did
Now,
society
that
change?
Carlton and
It's
Church,
2019.
DuPont and Lansdowne and Girard and Broadview. And the initiative will eventually expand to over 100 locations across the city. Phil Martino,
Really?
680 News.
It appears the
You know all those little
pandemic's
cameras you never pay attention to?
mental
Not the
well-being.
permanent ones. The ones with a sensor in the road with the wire across the road. You see me jumping up and down on top of the wire. What the fuck's this guy doing? He's jumping on-
If you're feeling like your
Jumping
mental
on
health
pain
has
is
taken a
wrong.
hit amid this
Um,
pandemic, Sachi Curls, the
what all those
executive
cameras are for.
director of the Angus Reid Institute,
There are
tells me
guys who
you're
watch that
certainly
footage,
not
eh?
alone.
16 screen 4x4 on 4 fucking monitors at 10 times speed all fucking day long. Yeah, this is the problem right here.
Group, a significant number actually say that their mental health has worsened a lot. We know that younger women and women in general are a little bit more likely to speak to a worsening in their mental health, but it is something that is affecting people across the board.
Over 40% of Canadians say they're feeling anxious or worried, but
All the running and
1/3 of
doing is
Canadians say
downhill,
they're
eh?
feeling gratitude in this pandemic. I'm
We'll
Owen
do
Mirachi.
uphill
The
normally.
star-studded
It's a
Stronger
struggle.
Together broadcast special raised over $6 million for Food Banks Canada. The nonprofit organization says it expects donations to reach the $10 million mark by the end of the week. Chief Executive Officer Chris Hatch says there were some delays last night due to the high volume of donations via phone, text, and online.
We couldn't keep up with last night, and the donations are still coming in today. They're coming in on our website. We've got,
You won't kill the
20
spirit of this
staff,
country no matter
management
how
sponsors
many
we speak,
of the country
so
men
literally,
you
as we
kill.
speak here, there are hundreds of
The
donations
last
still
man
coming
standing
in.
will still keep
Ratings
taking
information
shots at
is
your asses
expected
till
to be
he's done,
released
eh?
later tonight.
You're not taking this from us under any
Other places given
circumstances.
an
No
update on the shooting
disease,
death of a
wild
teenage boy
animal,
happened over
active
the
God,
weekend in North
nothing.
York.
You got, fuck you. We're still here, God.
The victim has been identified as Jeremiah Ranger. He and another boy got into the back seat of a white SUV just before 6 o'clock
Business
Sunday
as
evening,
usual,
and
dog.
within
Anyone could get it.
15
You take a
seconds,
fucking plane.
Jeremiah had been shot.
There was some sort of interaction inside the vehicle. Both youths fled. The deceased managed to flee a short distance before he was collapsed.
Detective Sergeant Henri Marsman says Jeremiah only got about
Where you
20
get that
meters
car
before he
cleaned up,
fell
eh?
down bleeding. He died in hospital.
The official cause of death is a perforating gunshot wound to the left buttock.
The SUV had at least 2 suspects.
You've been saying
inside.
hip
They
all
drove off
day.
from the residential area on Shepherd, just a few streets east of Jane. Marsman says Jeremiah's friend, who was there inside the SUV, is cooperating with investigators. And
Good, that
Jeremiah's
ain't
mother
snitching, dog. Put them or do something. They already tried to kill you and your
just
friend.
before
They
he
killed
went
your friend.
outside.
Fuck
She
it.
hasn't communicated
Tell them everything,
who
dog.
specifically she
But
thinks
if you
is
brought it on
involved.
yourself, I
Sun
can't help
31
that.
Division Headquarters, I'm Mark Douglas.
This is 680 News. The federal government's $73 billion wage subsidy now available.
Oh,
to
we
businesses
tried to
suffering
kill
through the
you,
pandemic.
and you
The
cooperated with the
application
police.
process is
That
now
makes you a
open. Right out of
snitch.
the
No,
gate,
don't.
there's been a big
Because you just put the
response.
heat on him,
The
too.
first
Whatever
5
he's
hours,
got going on, he
around
can't do no
10,000
more
business
either, eh?
owners logged on to the Canada Revenue Agency website to apply for this emergency help.
The
subsidy
cops
is
get
for
up your
companies that
ass when
suffered at
someone
least
tries to kill
30%
you, eh?
drop in business
Oh,
over the
you think it's all
COVID-19
fun and
pandemic.
games, eh?
And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the feds will chip in about 75% of the payroll.
Whether you're a charity that employs 200 people or a fast-growing startup that employs just 20, you will be eligible to up to $847 per week per employee.
The first checks are expected to go out.
I got
May 7th.
18
Meanwhile, Prime
million
Minister Justin Trudeau
employees.
says in the coming days, the feds will release a full set of shared guidelines.
I suppose if I write U.S. Army as
their
employer on the
economies
thing, they're
and
going to
give us
just
a taste of some of the
cancel. They're not
criteria.
going to
Make sure
reject
that you
that,
have
right? Who the
enough
fuck are you?
medical capacity to handle a
My
potential
grandfather
surge.
fought in your
Make sure
fucking army
you're
in
doing
Korea.
enough testing.
But he warns they need to take a cautious,
Born in
phased-in
Brooklyn.
approach to avoid a second wave of infections.
New York, motherfuckers, not Ontario.
This is
Our world has changed. We're in this together. 680 News.
Now, 6 City News gas price update. Enpro predicts the price will not change at midnight. 82.9 is about what we're running at. This is 6 City News.
I'm here with Bill
What are you running
Brothers,
at?
and we're talking about the Golf for Nothing frickin' part that just broke.
Easy there, pal. This is a family business.
Sorry, Bill, but do you know what it's like when you put in a hard day's work and one of your pieces of equipment breaks?
You know what the can-do reactor is? Do you know what the can-do reactor? This ain't no General Electric submarine rubber band thing, man. Rube Goldberg. Yo, you know what the can-do reactor is? It's a nuclear reactor that will just keep running even if all the technicians die at the controls. It'll just keep running and running and running. You're welcome, New York, because we won't be using the electricity, so I guess you'll get all of it at that point. You're going to need it for your ventilators. Hey, the border's closed, and we still got the perfect interstate fucking international fucking commerce. If we all die, you get the electricity for your ventilators.
Not a collision, but it looks like a stolen vehicle. The right shoulder affected. No delay heading
You
into
all
or
died.
out
That's
of
not bad.
downtown on the Gardner Expressway. The QEW is wide open.
You all died. Who the fuck's going to go down? How the fuck are we going to get down
Combination.
there?
Eastbound 401 at Markham Road in the collector's left lane is now closed for construction.
You can't die.
407 from approaching
You're
Britannia
ordered.
to
You're not allowed
approaching
to
Derry
die.
down to a single lane for roadwork. And that has
You're in the
also
state
closed
adjacent to Ontario. Well, I'm going to take the command here and say that the initiative here and say you cannot die. You're ordered not to die because you're going to be a health hazard to everyone around you.
Easy curbside pickup. Get your new motorcycle with finance rates as
So
low
don't
as
make it sort of
0%
personal to Canada. They won't support what I'm
Power
saying.
Sports
Right?
Authority. Your next report is at 7:21. Now with the forecast, here's Natasha Ranzai.
Ice water
Overnight
and hot
tonight,
coffee.
temperatures
Eh?
dropping to 6 degrees. We do have increasing cloud cover, so say goodbye to the sun for the majority of the rest of the week. We'll have some showers tomorrow morning, first half of the day.
Can you see the
couple
sun?
of dry
You see
hours
how
through
bright
the
my
afternoon,
skin
high
looks
of
right
10
now?
degrees. That's going to feel cooler
Like
along
a
the lake.
skull with no
And
fucking
then
flesh.
Wednesday, still mainly cloudy. We'll likely be into a little bit of shower action in the morning, couple of sunny breaks midday, and then rain.
I asked Crayola for a skin
Persistent
tone.
rainfall Wednesday night, the high 11 degrees. Overnight
Wait
temperature
for
down
it.
below 6 degrees.
Crayon. They told me it was in the box already. I said, I don't see it. They said exactly.
The food delivery app Foodora is
Fuck
getting
you.
out of our market.
The decision by Foodora comes only 2 months after the Ontario Labor Relations Board ruled that Foodora couriers have the right
Oh, shit, what did I just press?
to call them independent contractors.
What did I just
Now,
press?
today's
I pressed the
release
button. I
from
pressed the button.
Foodora didn't mention
still online?
that particular decision. It simply said that the company was unable to reach a level of profitability in Canada that's sustainable enough for it to continue
That means we don't need you.
operations. Foodora had gained some popularity in recent months because it was the only delivery app that was doing same-day delivery for LCBO alcohol orders. The company says it'll cease operations in Canada at the end of the day, May 11th. I'm Richard Southern.
Today's minute, dude.
Your home is more than just a place to live. It's your window of opportunity. With a home equity loan from Capital Direct, your home can provide valuable equities that will give you the freedom to complete those renovations, support your business, or simply get your debt in line. An easy call to 1-800-NEW-CAPITAL will open the doors to all the good things you thought were beyond your reach as a homeowner. So pick up the phone and call 1-800-NEW-CAPITAL today. .ca.
These are unprecedented times for everyone.
Because we have a prime minister, you ignorant fuck.
All homeowners with any kind of emergency maintenance and repairs. Plumbing problems, furnace and AC
We have
problems,
a prime
electrical
minister
problems,
and a
water
premier,
damages,
which
foundation leaks, roof leaks, window leaks, and
means
much more.
first.
You
What
have
are
a
you?
problem,
What the fuck is
call
all that?
AGM. They can fix any kind of emergency maintenance and repairs in your home. For an express and safe
All that to put it back to normal. What the fuck was that about?
AGM.
Yo, if I'm not being hacked, my Android box is a hell of a fucking attitude, yo. What the fuck?
Sunny skies in downtown Toronto, 13 degrees. Ask Pearson, good evening from the 6 City News Broadcast Center. I'm James Monroe.
I'm Rachel Janet Simmons. Here are the top stories right now.
Which one is it?
It's not a calendar, it's a roadmap.
And today from the Premier's laid out a 3-stage plan for
It's either
opening up
one
the economy
or the other,
contingent on a
not
steady
both.
decline in daily cases of
It's
COVID.
either a calendar, it's
Begin with
not a
some
calendar,
businesses
it's a
reopening, some
roadmap.
public
It's
spaces
either
with
one
safety
or the
measures
other,
in place.
not both.
No
Go
timeline
home
has been
and
provided.
stay home.
Taking it to the streets,
You're
the city
done.
watching curb teams
You're
for over
out.
100 pedestrian congestion hotspots.
You see how that gyroscope is split?
Traffic lanes to create more walking space.
Time for 6 City Sports from Sports at 590. The Fan, here's Rob Long.
The NBA has told teams in a public memo that they must keep their facilities closed until at least May the 8th. However, in regions where social distancing laws are starting to lift, teams could be permitted to open facilities after that. Only 4 players can work out at one time, and they will be required to wear face masks except when in physical activity. Staffers working with players
what isn't physical? Hold on.
And there must be physical distancing of at least 12 feet. Sporting events and concerts will continue to be banned in the province of Ontario. Premier Doug Ford announcing that as part of his 3-phase plan to reopen the economy. Ford adds that sporting events with fans in attendance are unlikely when they do return. Veteran NHL forward Joel Ward has called it a career after 11 seasons in the league. The 39-year-old appeared in 726 games playing for Minnesota, Nashville, Washington, and San Jose. And Formula One's chairman Chase Carey hopes the season can begin July the 5th.
This is that
despite the first 10
shit,
races being canceled or postponed because of the coronavirus pandemic. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
I would love to send this for analysis.
On May 2nd, the Today Showstopper at TSC will be the Beauty Bio Glow Pro Microneedling Regeneration Facial and Body Set, complete with sculptor firming body cream. Easy and comfortable to use in just 60 seconds a day.
Having fucking multiple personalities is hard. I gotta run through 4 different races in my head for every fucking reaction I'm supposed to have and not have.
Get it on May 2nd. What is the Today Showstopper? Shop tsc.ca. Today's shopping choice.
I'm David St. Jacques. As an astronaut, I know what it's like to be isolated, away from friends and family. It's hard, but it's what we all need to do for each other. Even if you're not
That's the only motherfucker that can tell you that.
Infected with COVID-19 and pass it to others. Your actions can protect your loved ones.
That was out.
Save lives. Visit Canada.ca/coronavirus.
You think I make these things up?
Instructions on how you can help stop this pandemic.
A message from the Government of Canada.
This 23-hour lockdown. Shut up.
News in our daily COVID briefing today, Dr. Teresa Tam.
You get out once a day?
That kid on the long car ride.
You know, some dogs only get out like before you go to work and after you come home from work.
From the back seat.
Put up the road, there's a junkyard with that dog's on a chain. I'm the dog at the junkyard.
We have never felt more like
You pussies are the dog that gets out twice a day.
Quite yet, and though we are getting closer all the time, we can't let go of the wheel yet.
Federal health officials.
You never let go of the wheel, stupid.
When it comes to relaxing federal
Jesus.
restrictions, they include ensuring each province's evidence, the transmission is well controlled, and the public health systems can properly diagnose infections and do contact tracing. The crisis that devastated New York City may have begun earlier than we thought. It may not have been obvious at the time,
caught
but
up right now processing food. I'm having a box to get up and move around at the same fucking time.
May have heralded the onset of COVID-19 in New York City. ABC News analyzed EMS data and found emergency calls for cardiac arrest began to climb in mid-February, a month before the mayor declared the city the nation's coronavirus epicenter. Ambulances were dispatched to 5 times the normal amount of cardiac calls, and doctors have since noted a link between coronavirus and heart damage. Aaron Katersky, ABC News, New York.
What's specific about heart damage,
Scary? Today in Atlanta with some changes.
Bone Lake Barbecue owner Mike Lesage calls it shameful to reopen dining rooms before Georgia's coronavirus cases dropped significantly.
Was given a heart drug to give him scar tissue,
order did change
and then because of that he wasn't eligible for
lenient and giving grace periods
either surgery or transplant. It doesn't matter what. He was denied treatment based on see what happens.
Of Hugo's and CNS
I think I just found out which of my grandparents had
weeks and will reopen with guidelines stricter than the governor's.
We're going to see less than the guidelines, and we're going to sanitize even more.
Veronica Waters for ABC News, Atlanta.
Petit Maigre Blanche. The Petit Maigre Blanche. Oh, you got the Petit Maigre Blanche. Watermelons, man.
For now is the play. Big Will tells Phoenix radio station KTAR. He's talked to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell several times.
And I know that in my conversations with him that
we're not like calicos. We can breed and we can hear. We're not like white cats. We can hear you. We're not blind.
Season with fans, but obviously we'll make adjustments as we go.
As of now, NFL facilities remain closed. The regular season schedule is due to be released May 9th at the latest. Jeremy Foster, ABC News, Phoenix.
The governor of Texas has offered details of his plan for reopening the world's 10th largest economy.
Despite its size,
No, you're Texas. The border's closed. Buddy, what the fuck's wrong with you? You got Mexico on the one side, now just pretend it's Mexico on all four sides. Just pretend.
The number of people who have recovered from COVID-19 will soon exceed the number of active cases.
And so starting Friday, Texas.
Yeah, but that could flip over real fast. I don't think you're good at math, but that might be true. I don't think you understand mathematics just because you can do mathematics.
Assuming no new flare-up of COVID-19, that will rise to 50% in the middle of May. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
I gotta do drugs to listen to
this
these.
Is All News Radio, 680 News. Some news from Porter today will extend its suspension of all flights by another 4 weeks until June 29th. The airline stopped flying on March 21st. The move follows WestJet's announcement last week.
You're on the planes, right? Why fucking run them into the ground, chasing dollars you're not going to make back? Fuck that.
Air Canada as well canceling all flights to the U.S.
That's called
after Ottawa
chasing
extended
your
its border
tail, in
closure
my vernacular.
by 30 days.
680 News Time, 7:21.
Oh, we got to make more money to buy new planes. Why? You've got planes, don't you?
407 ATR.
You're not flying them, are you? So the Hobbs meters aren't taking over, are they?
Oh, okay. Right lane is blocked. Looks like tow trucks are arriving on scene. So as you head off the Copper ramp onto the westbound GW, you'll just find this stalled vehicle at the end of the ramp. Watch out for that. Eastbound Gardner at Park Lawn, we have some police activity. It's sitting on the right shoulder, just causing a visual
disruption. Newer planes off who? All these companies are all fucked right now.
Into or out of downtown. Southbound 400
all the aluminum steel's going to ventilators and medical equipment.
Construction, and then it came
turned into cars.
Off the two right lanes.
Whatever
on the eastbound 407 from approaching Britannia to approaching Derry, it's down to a single lane only due to construction, and that is also closed the east and westbound Britannia ramps to eastbound 407 for the time being. We'll let you know when that reopens. Eastbound 401 at Markham Road in the collector's left lane is closed for construction. We also have north and southbound Jameson blocked off from King to Springhurst, and that's because of a crash. 407 ETR thanks you for continuing to follow social distancing rules. Together we can beat the COVID-19 virus. 407ETR.com. Your next report is at 7:31, and now with the forecast, here is Natasha Ramsahai.
7:5 Dowling makers dropping drugs out the window.
Tonight until tomorrow morning. We'll wake up to 6 degrees and some showers. A little bit drier through the afternoon. We'll have a wind off the lake up to 40 kilometers per hour. So that's a brisk, cool wind. High of 10 degrees, but it's going to feel cooler along the lake. Wednesday, mainly cloudy. Some morning showers, heavier rain through the late afternoon and into the evening with a high of 11 degrees. Also very gusty off the lake. Then by Thursday, still cloudy, still some showers,
where trees stand in water, supposedly is what the
high of
model
13 degrees. Tonight we're down to a low of 6 degrees.
Yeah,
downtown Toronto, mainly clear, 13 degrees.
Masks on our
bottom of the hour, Doug Ford takes a look at the road ahead.
Well, we said this is a roadmap. It's not a calendar. It's a roadmap. So we're going to continue working hard, and I just encourage everyone, please continue following the protocols.
Today, the Premier laid out a three-stage plan.
I started doing these lives, listening to the news, because I could not type fast enough and get the sound bites and everything. I couldn't. Those are the shit that I wanted to show the world.
Don't miss our world
Sound
famous
bites.
$1.5 million early bird prize.
All the other informational shit is just extra.
Built by Inwood with over 3,000 square feet of luxury. It comes
I don't sell weed. I sell little plastic baggies. The weed just comes in them. I don't know.
Don't wait. The early bird deadline is in 4 days. Tickets at PrincessMargaretLotto.com.
Yeah, I don't know. They fucking burn it as soon as they get it. So I don't think they even want it. They just want the baggies for sale.
More than ever. Listen 3,
Right.
4, 5 times a day. This is 680 News. Ask
Oh, I
to
don't know
play
if you
us
noticed
on your
it's a state of
smart speaker.
emergency. They're not coming to arrest me.
This is
They're not
680 News.
right
Some
now.
of Italy's
Unless I put my
lockdown
hands on
rules
somebody,
will be
then of course
partially
they do.
eased this weekend, but restrictions on church services remain.
Catholic bishops here in Italy have blasted the Italian government for not lifting a ban on religious mass. In its first measures to ease the lockdown begun almost 2 months ago,
look at your
Prime
own
Minister
history of
Giuseppe
spreading
Conte
disease?
said public places like museums and parks will open again starting next week. But he did
Specifically to
not mention
Catholic Church.
religious services.
Specifically to Catholic
Italy's
Church.
bishops
No race
accused the
behind it.
government of
Specifically to
arbitrarily
Catholic Church.
excluding mass and saying they cannot accept freedom of religion being compromised. One cabinet minister openly criticized
You
the
can
decision,
believe whatever you
calling it
want. Can you not do it? Taking a
Megan
step,
Williams,
but
ABC
you can't take a
News.
step apart or something? No. How the
The
fuck
Ontario
can you?
government says it has received
Physics has to outweigh what you
20,000
believe but can't
complaints
prove.
about
No
price
offense. We can
gouging
prove this
since the
virus
Premier
exists.
announced to
We
crack
can't
down
prove
against practice months ago.
nothing in your book.
Post
Can you just take a
reports, the
step
province's
apart?
online
No.
portal
Why?
has been so busy that some staff have been reassigned.
The religious people have been behind most of the development of fucking TV and video recording and all this shit. Do you not see like the 700 Club and whatever, all these fucking shows and every religious, occultist, whatever fucking weirdo leader in the world that's got a following has a fucking DVD or
Company directors face $500,000 or jail time, while corporations can be fined $10 million. Coming up in 60 seconds, Richie's Monday Markets, 680 News Time, 7:25.
My share of my Indian Capital Trust account only either 2 or 3 million. I think.
Well, every Sunday we're doing a TV show from my living room where we talk to artists,
we've always identified as
frontline
Indian.
workers,
We're in the
and
600,000.
just about how you're holding up. We're calling it after something we say to one another back in Newfoundland. What are you
Any
at?
more than you already do.
What are you at on Sundays, 8 p.m. on CBC and CBC Gem? So join me and come on over. Just not literally.
Attention homeowners. Savers Mortgage is offering deferred or prepaid payments on new first, second, and third mortgages based solely on sufficient home equity, despite income or credit to help in these difficult times. Apply in just 3 minutes at savers.ca. That's S-A-V like Victor.
So I'm doing this right now to get the oxygen in my lungs.
Apply anytime at savers.ca
Medicine
or call
man, medical.
413-1983. License 10587.
I'm with the Black Cross. See me straighten it out like this way with sideways, eh?
Now, the 680 business report from the Midtown home office. It is Richard Southern.
You live in Midtown, dog? Nice.
Good evening. A couple of weeks ago, Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund took a sizable stake
collected a
in
bunch of
the
donations
badly
once.
beaten down Carnival Cruise Lines. Now it's making another bet.
This woman's house has books all over the place, right? Similar to this, not but all about investing and how to actually work with money to make it in a way to make sense.
Stock, the owner of
She
Ticketmaster,
applied what she knew, right?
meaning it'll own a
block from
5.7%
a
stake
very
in the
expensive
company.
street.
Live Nation, again, the parent of the ticket retailer Ticketmaster, has been hard hit with all concerts and sporting events.
No, I
around
think
the
she
world,
actually had the.
especially
I
from
think it was the
home.
closest
The
residential you
company
could
has
be to
also
that
been
street.
sued
Now
in
that
the
I think
United
about it. I think
States
the rest is
because
all
it
commercial.
has at times been reluctant to offer full refunds
She
to
did what
customers.
she wanted
The stock
to,
gained
right?
almost 10%
It was
today
not a
to
little tiny house.
$42.01
There was no
this year.
trade-off.
Broader markets
It was,
for virus
she wanted a big
jurisdictions,
house.
both here at
Here,
home and
she
around
got
the
it.
world,
And I looked at all the
detailed
books and
plans
they
to
told them.
reopen economies. The TSX up 221 points, 1.5% to 14,642. The Dow above its 50-day moving average now. Dow gains 358 points.
Yeah,
Up to
somebody has to physically go pick that stuff up and put it in the vehicle and bring it. Right? The gas money has to come from somewhere. Somebody has to pay insurance.
Retail stocks
it's not
looked
all free
good
just because
today,
it's non-profit.
with again some jurisdictions talking about reopening. Canada Goose up 9%, $33.40. Aritzia up 8% at $15.10 the share. Price for oil continues to fall. It dropped 24%.
Oh, thanks. But if you're fancy fashion designer, luxury labels, can't switch your production lines over to something else on a dime like everybody else can, I don't see a use for you. If you tell me you're $1,000 a bottle perfume, all of a sudden you can put medicine in them, buy hand sanitizer, whatever, for 10 cents a bottle, you're just going to give it away now? That would make sense to me. This dumb shit you people doing don't make sense to me. It's not real business. It's not real money. It's not sustainable. Right?
You cleaned out the closet, reorganized the basement, and
Trying
functionally
to get
your
ready
living
to go.
room.
I'm fucking
Now
exhausted.
it's time to
Not
get
exhausted,
outside
tired.
and
There's no
tackle the
oxygen.
garden. During this time, it's time to get the soil and resources you need. So LessMess.ca has made it easier and safer to get topsoil, mulch, compost, sand, and stone delivered
I
to
was
your
already in the
home
building
with a
when I
Less
did that.
Mess Enviro Bag. Not only do you get nutrient-rich soil in a sealed Less Mess Enviro Bag, but LessMess.ca offers quick, no-contact delivery to keep you feeling safe and secure. Visit LessMess.ca and get into your garden.
Local businesses make our city great.
That's why 680 News has partnered with Scotiabank in Operation Support Local. Hi, it's Steve Roberts. By supporting local, you can help keep the places you love open. From shopping online to signing up for online classes or even ordering takeout, it all starts with you. To submit or find a local business to support, visit 680news.com/support.
So with B19, I have a visual.
In partnership with our friends,
Speaking of which,
Scotiabank, we're in this
I
together.
have a visual indicator of my immune system status at any given
degrees,
time.
overnight clouds, and 6 tomorrow morning, cloudy with drizzle. And
Unfortunately, it also means I'm losing
clouds
blood
and 10
cells.
looking
It's
ahead
happening.
to
Red dots over
Wednesday,
here.
cloudy. Morning showers, heavier rain in the evening, and windy. and a high of 11.
I
Few
lit it
clouds
up
in
just
downtown
right.
Toronto, it's 13. I'm
The
JM.
point is,
I'm ST. It's 7:30.
there's something.
Number one for news in Toronto.
That was gonna
This
say.
is 680 News.
Here are Scott Burnett and Caitlin Lee.
Good evening. It's Monday, April 27th.
Visual
making news
reminder of
right
immune
now.
system status.
The city of Toronto is shutting down parts of traffic lanes to give people more physical distancing
something
space
good.
at pedestrian congestion hotspots. It's called
Just lines
Curb
down.
TO.
The Ontario government
We
says it
welcome
will ease
your
COVID-19
input.
restrictions in 3 stages, but there is no timeline on when it will start.
Yeah, I
and it
should
could
disagree
take
with
more
this.
than
Sticking with
3
that.
months to reach stage 3.
In order to reopen the economy, 4 specific health thresholds must be met.
There is light at the end of this tunnel.
But the health minister cautions the threat is not
It's an
over.
oncoming train.
$6 million. That's how much cash last night's Stronger Together special raised for Food Banks Canada.
We'll have more on the NBA's plans to reopen their practice facilities, while the NHL could play some regular season games
No,
if
not
they
happy
resume
about
this
that.
summer.
You happy about
Sports at 45.
Grounded. We're looking at how long Porter Airlines says it's going to keep all its planes on the ground. Burbage Productions making changes to its theater schedule.
Now it's about 5 years
TFX
old.
up more than 200
The
points.
food banks came out. It
Business at
started
56.
because GM and Ford, and whoever the fuck laid off a shitload of people in the car plants. This was a temporary measure.
Thank you, Caitlin and Scott, and good evening. This report is brought to you by Queensway Hyundai. Well, we had a problem
They've
briefly
done
on the
nothing but
westbound
get bigger sense. It's a
2W at the
broke
conference
business.
and cleared out of the
If there
way.
was a way for
On
me
the
to
eastbound
invest in
Gardner
food
Way
banks, I
Parkway, there's
would
some
have.
police activity on the shoulder, and the right lane is blocked also.
I'm not happy
Just
about
a
that at all.
minor bunch up. Everything is quite smooth on the Gardner Expressway traveling into and out of downtown. With construction south on the 400 at Highway 89 in the 2 left lanes, and at King Road blocking the 2 right lanes. Eastbound 407 from approaching Britannia to approaching Derry down to a single lane for construction.
These are the
And
same
that
ones
was
they were
also
giving
closed
out to do
east
the
and west of
STD
Britannia
survey.
ramps to eastbound 407.
Two
If you're
cigarettes
traveling
to answer
along
some
Jameson, we
questions.
have a portion of it closed. It's closed between King and
Probably
Springhurst.
illegal.
That too is for a collision.
Oh, it's illegal if the Indians do it. It's legal if 2 white guys do
Purchase
it
from
in the
Home
city of Toronto,
Solutions,
right?
6-month payment deferral and concierge services. Here to service the community, visit queenswayhyundai.ca. Your next report is at 7:41, and now with the forecast, here's Natasha Ramsahai.
We are waking up to 6 degrees in the morning, and it looks like some showers starting right around 5, 6 in the morning. Drizzle continuing up until just after lunch, and then the afternoon should be dry, overcast, a high of 10 degrees. That's going to feel cooler along the lake with that lake breeze up to about 30 kilometers per hour. Tonight, we're headed down to a low of 6 degrees.
And right now in downtown Toronto, a few clouds and 12. 680 News Time, 7:32.
The city of Toronto launching a new initiative to make it easier for people to physically distance on crowded sidewalks.
It's called Curb TO. 680's Phil Martino joins us live with an explanation. Phil?
Scott, Mayor John Tory says some lanes of traffic will be closed at select pedestrian congestion hotspots where there is sidewalk crowding. Now, that tends to be around essential businesses like grocery stores and pharmacies.
This common sense initiative, which starts with 10
Oh,
sites
you
right
don't
now
notice
today,
the businesses
and will
up
expand
here,
to more
right?
than 100
Roll
locations
through
across the
in
city.
slow
Is
mode.
one more way the city
2D
government
or
is working
whatever, and
to
look.
protect public health and to stop the spread of COVID-19.
The initial list of spots includes Carlton and
There's a
Church,
dentist right on the
Danforth
corner.
and Broadview
They've been
and
closed
DuPont
for 2
and
fucking months,
Lansdowne.
3
The
fucking
program
months.
will also increase
Breaking that
access to
fucking place, I'll
temporary
kick your
parking
ass,
for
I
quick
swear to
food
God.
and essential
Grass
medicine
everywhere.
pickup and deliveries, which
Cut your
are at
ass.
an
Oh, there's a
all-time
dentist chair and
high.
tools there.
Phil
I
Martino,
catch you in there,
680
it's a good
News.
problem.
680 News Time, 7:33. We now have an idea
Point
of what
is,
the
there's a
promises
dentist right on the
Get
corner.
Back to Business plan will look like once we're ready to start easing restrictions. And it will happen slowly. 680's Irene Prucklick reports.
The Ontario government says it will ease COVID-19 restrictions in 3
So now
stages,
we
but
got
there's
these
no
video
timeline on when
roundtables
it
for all
will
these
start
council
and
meetings and
few
shit.
specifics. Each
We're
stage
gonna have
would take 2 to
mirrors
4
where
weeks,
it's gonna
and at
be
any point we
assholes
could
like
go
me
back a stage.
and all
So
our
this will
friends
take
doing our
months. Premier
roundtable,
Doug Ford says the
watching
health
it
and
like a
safety of
watch party
Ontario
on
is what
Facebook.
matters most.
The framework is about how we're reopening, not when we're reopening. Let me be crystal clear. As long as this virus remains a threat to Ontario, We will continue to take every precaution necessary.
Stage 1 of the plan would see some workplaces open. It would allow for more people at certain events and have hospitals resume some non-urgent surgeries. Stage 2 could include opening more businesses, but again, we don't know which ones. Stage 3 would include having all workplaces open.
They tell you which ones you're going to jump the gun to stage 4.
But no big sporting events or concerts. We don't know yet when Stage 1 will begin.
I got that up the back of the scrap.
So what will it take for us to begin the road back to normal? While the 3-stage plan remains vague, we are learning a bit more about
Fabriqué Canada, made in Canada, Maple Leaf. On top of the Maple Leaf.
With those details, Michelle?
Yeah, good evening, Scott. Health Minister Christine Elliott says
Graphic Communications International Union label registered 100
new daily COVID-19 cases. Next,
ongoing health system capacity. Ensuring public health units can contact new cases within the day.
And finally, ongoing testing of suspected COVID-19 cases, especially of vulnerable populations.
Those 2 little corners that broke off since I owned it, because I keep picking it up.
Where do we currently stand?
Right now, we're still in the pandemic phase.
Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health only says we have a ways to go before reopening. He did not give a specific date.
My grandfather scrapped 200 or 300 Model A's.
680 News Time, 7:36. As Toronto moves into week 7 of the pandemic, officials say they're seeing promising signs that public health measures are working. Medical Officer of Health Dr. Eileen DeVilla shared the city's numbers.
He scrapped the old ones when they got the new pretty ones. Because all the rich people in Hollywood had the nice new car. What do they do with the old ones? Still running. Who they're going to sell it to? They're sitting there. Take it away for free.
Who have now recovered from this virus in our city.
Dr.
He's in the same boat. Who's he going to sell it to?
To practice social distancing and only leave the house for essential reasons.
That's
Some great news for Canada's fight against COVID-19. Last night's star-studded Stronger Together special raised over $6 million for Food Banks Canada. The not-for-profit organization said it expects donations to reach the $10 million mark by the end of next week. Chief Executive Officer Chris Hatch says it was a tremendous success.
To see the wealth of talent, see all the Canadians coming together and remind us of how we care for each other and the salute and the thanks to our frontline workers during this COVID crisis, healthcare, paramedics, first responders, and food bankers. So it was a great way to do. We've had nothing but great event. What? It was wonderful.
If you missed it, but it was a heck of a show. Some of the long list of performers: Justin Bieber, Celine Dion, Michael Bublé, and Bryan Adams.
You're listening to 680 News at 7:37. A Toronto hotel is reopened to provide free rooms to healthcare workers. Rooms at the Annex Hotel in Brunswick Avenue are now reserved exclusively for what the company calls heroes in our hotel. The hotel says private donors have stepped forward to cover the cost of rooms and cleaning through the end of June. It was also launched an online store that allows people to purchase items such as wine and chocolate to enjoy during their stay.
Police have updated the murder of a 15-year-old boy in North York over the weekend. 680's Mark Douglas joins us with the latest on the shooting that happened near Jane and Shepherd. As we hear from Detective Sergeant Henri Marsman, whatever went wrong inside that SUV went wrong very quickly.
Somewhere in the range of 10 to 15 seconds.
Jeremiah stumbled out of the vehicle parked in a residential area on Shepherd near Jane. He made it about 20 meters and then collapsed, bleeding from a single gunshot wound to his hip. He died in hospital.
I dare you to run 60 fucking feet
alone in that
with a fucking gunshot wound in your ass, your hip.
His friend.
Let's see you do that.
More than one suspect. I'll leave it at that.
Jeremiah's mother told police her son got a call just before he went outside. Marsman will not comment on what Jeremiah and his friend were doing in the SUV. That friend is cooperating with police. A video of the boys getting into and out of the SUV can be found at 680news.com. Outside 31 Division headquarters, I'm Mark Douglas.
If you want to play the devil's advocate like I do cynically, so maybe they were hustling some dope. Camera right there. They obviously weren't afraid of the camera. I ain't.
The decision
I won't do stupid things right in front of the camera. There's a line to be drawn, right?
Labor Relations Board ruled that Foodora Couriers have
Camera
the
don't save
right
your
to
ass.
unionize and told them
independent contractors. Now, today's
No, because that's the other angle. Oh, well, if you're not terrified of cameras, you must be a snitch. Slow down, bud.
to reach a level of profitability
I just happen to know what the camera
that's
can and can't see,
sustainable
that's
enough for
all.
it to continue operations.
Can't see the license plate on the car,
Some
can you?
popularity in recent months because it was the only
Oh,
delivery
no
app
wonder
that
where I
was
was
doing
going with that.
same-day delivery for LCBO alcohol orders. The company says it'll cease
How many of those
operations in
goddamn
Canada
Audis I
at the
see
end
in
of
a
the day,
fucking
May
day?
11th. I'm Richard Southern.
There must be 50 parked within 10 minutes of here, man.
680 news time at 7:39. A puppy is still missing after an SUV was stolen in Richmond Hill over the weekend. York Regional Police saying just after.
Why'd you leave the
4:30
dog in the
yesterday
car?
afternoon, a woman
Before I help you
Range
find this
Rover
goddamn
from
dog, you
Condo
better have a
Building
story as to
Park
why
Road
you left the
in
dog
the
in the car.
Bayview and Highway 7 area. And when she
What was,
returned,
did
her
you leave the
vehicle was
keys
gone.
in it?
So
Why
was
were the
her
doors unlocked? I'm
5-month-old
getting confused
Husky
now.
Pomeranian mix Prince, who was in that
See, that's the
SUV.
problem with the key
Vehicle
and
was
the
located
wireless
at
fob
Weston
being
Roger
one
Road in
piece. Because
Toronto.
if you leave the
The
key in
vehicle
it, you can't lock the
unoccupied.
doors and
The
walk
dog
away. If it's
nowhere
two
to be found.
pieces, you can leave the
Prince is
key in
described
it,
as having
lock the
white and
doors and
brown
walk
fur.
away.
Anyone with
Oh, for those
information
cars
has to
tend to be
contact
Fords and
police.
Lincolns with the keyless entry that you
Downtown
press the
for
buttons.
680
Man,
years,
they don't want you
gas
getting locked out of your
price
car.
update and
For a
progress.
reason,
The price
fucking
will not
farmers
change
and
at midnight.
white
It will
boys
stay
and
at
things,
82.9 cents a
Not
liter
white boys,
at most
rednecks.
GTA stations. Traffic and
Those are
weather is
indentured
next.
680 news time 7:40.
So they got the
The numbers
rednecks
are
working in the
staggering.
fields
In
with us.
Canada, on
Straight
average,
just
2
like us.
employees are killed every
Well, I
day
get
in
it because I'm a
work-related
fucking
incidents.
plantation
Many
estate
more are
baby.
injured or
Right,
become
okay.
sick from
Well,
hazardous
on one side
substances.
of it.
UA Local 853 Sprinkler Fitters of Ontario points out that April 28th
On the other
is
side, you can only
International Day
force a
Mourning,
Jamaican to work for so long before he's willing to pick up a gun
on
for
April
anybody.
28th, let's pause to remember those lost or hurt while working and commit to a safer workplace.
Pledge allegiance to the who are you again? The Queen Queen and bang bang bang, NASA.
Sprinkler Fitters of
That's what
Ontario.
happened.
Visit UALocal853.org.
The sun is still.
Time for traffic and weather.
Oh,
Together
yes,
on
it is.
the lines, here is Christine Micah.
This report is brought to you by Lowe's. Finally, they cleared that construction
Oh,
on
yeah, it's
eastbound
just pure
407 at
industrial
Britannia
shit
and the
in here,
Britannia
man.
ramp to eastbound 407.
Oh, once I get all the recyclable shit out, then I can
However,
fucking sort out
we do
everything.
have this police activity taking place eastbound on the Gardner at Park Lawn.
Six
It
up.
looks to be only on the right shoulder at this time. They had the right lane blocked as well. That doesn't seem to be the case now. Eastbound 401 east of
Theoretically, I could
Dixie
put
in the
that into the
collectors.
back of this
I'm
keyboard.
looking for this construction that they have setting up. They're going to be
Discovered
setting up
that
here.
USB
When
ports,
all is
'cause
said and done, the
yeah,
two
I know
right
that the
lanes are going
bank,
to
they
be
got the
blocked.
mouse plugged
Really
in
no
here,
big
and the
delays
headset
on the
plugged in
major
here,
routes
not on
around
the
the
monitor.
GTA right now. Thank
That's,
goodness. Eastbound
well, this
401
is
at
plugged into
Markham
the
Road in the
monitor,
collectors.
and
Left lane is closed at Fort Union in the collectors. We have another left lane closed
I
here.
used to go to
North and
banks.
southbound Don Mills at the Don Valley Parkway. A single lane
There you
construction
go.
taking place each direction. And northbound Jameson is closed from
I could go to the
Springhurst to
bank
King
now, I
because of a
think,
collision.
technically.
To help you stay safe and at home, Lowe's is
But the money's
offering free
outside
parcel
in the
shipping
machine,
and
so I don't know
curbside
what I'd be
pickup with
going in there
online
for.
purchases
All
at
right.
Lowes.ca.
I'm a
Your
customer.
next
You
report
work
is
here?
at
I've never seen
7:51.
you before. You
Now
ever
with the
seen me
forecast,
anyway?
here's Natasha Remzahai.
Thanks for the money.
As we're sleeping overnight tonight, increasing cloud and looks like some
Well, they don't
showers
have to do it
starting,
today.
and it'll be in place for the morning as we wake up to 6 degrees. Drizzle continuing until just
I
after
always
lunch.
find a way
Tuesday
to argue
afternoon
with
will be
people.
overcast, but I'm going to keep us dry for the latter part of the day.
You're gonna
Lake
keep us-
breeze,
what?
20 to 30 kilometers per hour. That's going to make our high of 10 degrees
What was
feel
I doing? I
cooler.
was getting water.
And then Wednesday, that lake breeze will be gusting upwards of 50 kilometers per hour. We've got some more
What?
showers, heavier rain Wednesday night with a high of 11 degrees. Overnight tonight, we're headed down to a low of 6 degrees.
Downtown Toronto right now, we've got a partly cloudy sky sitting at 13. 680 news time, 7:43.
I thought the high was 11 or something.
Airlines is
Hold on,
pushing
hold
back
on, hold on,
or
hold on.
zipping
What's
flights.
the high?
Business editor Chris McCusker has the details.
Did we win that $25,000 in a
for the plan
technicality
to
now? Like,
restart
what the
flights
fuck?
on June 1st. That plan is now being changed, with the restart date pushed forward by 4 weeks to June 29. Porter CEO and President Michael Deleuze says in a statement, while there are many promising signs about how COVID-19 is being contained, travel is still difficult. So the airline has made these adjustments based on the public health response. Porter is also waiving change and cancellation fees on all fares booked by June 29th, which also applies to Porter Escape vacation packages. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker. This is 680 News.
See my knee, but
Northwood
it's still
Mortgage
way down
people
in the
work
bottom
harder
of
to
it.
find
Right.
solutions just for you. One example, Northwood regularly helps families get
get into new homes after the bank has turned them down. Unlike the big banks, Northwood Mortgage is more flexible. Northwood Mortgage listens and works harder to create a solution that's customized for you.
You have your trinkets and beliefs, have mine. All right? Fuck around.
license 10349.
At this difficult time, New Life Fertility Center wishes you good health and safety and thanks the government for helping with the financial burden. It's been hard, but from this hardship will come new life. And when you start yours, consider partnering with New Life Fertility. Don't worry about the cost because New Life also stands by you financially with the guaranteed lowest IVF cost, just $7,900 and the highest success rate.
For the notification of Germany or
NewLifeFertility.com.
Life in the Third Reich.
News Radio.
The persecution of the Christian churches. Oh, that's interesting. Why would I argue that after saying I'm not a Christian?
Toronto, I'm Caitlin Lee.
I'm Scott Burnett. Here are the top stories right now.
The city of Toronto closing some traffic lanes where there is a lot of sidewalk crowding.
I'm allowed to do this tomorrow reading excerpts and giving commentary and opinion. The rise and fall of the Third Reich, the history of Nazi Germany, plus this is very important
areas near grocery stores and
public human history and public health and everything. Man. You just got to read this shit. You can't read it. I'm gonna read parts of it to you.
Ontario. Each stage expected to take 2 to 4 weeks.
Encourage you to buy the book.
It will take months for things to really get back to normal. And great news
30
for
US, 25 Canadian. Of course, I always bang this for $5.
$6 million last night. Justin Bieber, Celine Dion, and Bryan Adams choose some of the big names.
The white part there says history. That's what that smudge is. That you cannot see at all. It says history above the barcode. It says printed in the USA, and right here it says 1011.
To reopen their practice facilities for at least 1 week and caution that the new target is far from set in stone. The earliest the teams can reopen for voluntary player workouts is now May the 8th, and that would only be the case in places where local and state laws made such a move permissible. Players will have to wear masks at all times except when in physical activity, and staff members will have to wear gloves and masks at all time. Also, facilities will be limited to 4 players at any time. Well, if sports do return to the province of Ontario at some point this year, don't expect any fans in attendance. That from Premier Doug Ford, who in his 3-phase plan to reopen the economy said that large gatherings like sporting events and concerts will continue to be prohibited and will be allowed when restrictions on mass gatherings are relaxed. Could we see some regular season games for the NHL once they return? Hockey Night in Canada's Elliot Friedman thinks so.
I do believe that they will try to have regular season games. And the reason is the players have made it very clear that they are against starting right up with the playoffs.
Somewhere here I have a bunch of little green pieces of paper.
Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/59.
680 news time, 7:47. To the nurses and doctors who doubled their shifts.
I would be reading right now if I had not lost my page.
Keeping us safe. Those who keep the lights on and the food coming. To all frontline and emergency workers, Subaru dealers salute you. In fact, while we continue to provide essential services,
Get your charge with every breath. This who cheated kind of good.
I'm gonna do it. These are not American cigarettes. These are Canadian cigarettes. These are Canadian blend
Coming up the Lord, I'm a tough motherfucker. Slumming with the sword, I'm a rough motherfucker.
Smells like Colt, but it's not addictive.
I'm my best, but I'm my worst. And that's exactly why I gotta put them in the dirt. You should see us go to work. Watch me hit him where it hurts. Watch me fucking hit him first. Watch me put him in a hearse. Drinking blood and
it's like when you ask for the cess and they give you the strongest hydro by mistake. Oh, I got way too high. Who are you going to complain to?
Fuck your life and occupation. I'ma watch you run away. It look like immigration.
Same grubby sweater since high school. Drugs out the vial, I'm vile, boom on screens and vials. Survival of the fittest, I'm a walking pandemic. Try to take on me and do the jogging man with it. What's a champion scene without some sadness up in it? I know the world is ours, I'm just having a minute. Another dead man walking with a casket inside it. It's either a bucket or a habit I'm kicking. Conscious roll caller, is it casting auditions? If you notice I ain't present, it's cause the past isn't finished.
Coming for the throat of anyone that is my enemy. Listen, little bitch, this is not what I pretend to be. Sending armies, send your troops, send them in with camo suits. Come and catch me, make me pay. Or boy till my dying day, or boy till my dying day, or boy being sealed away, or boy after I decay. I'm a fucking misfit with his fucking wrist slit. Hit you with my fist, bitch, bring it red like Christmas. Death is on my wish
wish list of headphones ain't tangled.
Oh, I know. I should be more gentle with it and not blow smoke on anything else. Fuck you. I'm reading it what it's meant for.
No strings attached, fucking weird flaws. Down Jones crash. How we share flaws. Give the empathy in my epitaph. Epithet. Y'all my nemesis. Yeah, I said that with emphasis. Ain't no common ground or no common sense. Fuck your comments, that's the consequence when you on the fence. Killing Will, all my head is feral. I can't call them off. I can't call it dog. Shit, I'm probably wrong. Stay lifted and twisted like a fucking polygon. If you feeling froggy, you knock back to a polywall. Straight up see the black dove. So don't push no more. When it comes to pushing shit, I'll put you through the floor. Someone come and catch some more. I swear you'll be the one that choke. When I'm fucking an angry bitch, I'ma wipe out all your hope. I'ma smoke your fucking dope. Cut you up like cantaloupe. Send you to the North Pole. Inside of an envelope. Bloody up my swords again. Demons always play pretend. Cut them up with just a pen. I'm something you can't comprehend. Against me you cannot defend. Pain and fear you can't prevent. I'll make sure you feel suspense. Put you under the cement. Put you in the ground for talking down to a nihilist. Taking all these chemicals. I feel like I'm a scientist. Breaking my appliances. Anger with the sciences. That is what my style is. And people is my stylist. How you smoking Percy's and still Jackson the lighter thief. If you like the green shit, go full circle like a reef. Ain't it scary? Mixing Katy Perry, same with Jerry, aviary. Then low, watch me blow, getting buried. Blend a lotion, hurry up and chain you vary. The pen should make the paper drops, both the stationary. Can't sleep in my bed since he was up, man. Got me fucked up, shooting tough up to feeling lazy, cause there's nothing to do. For a heart that's acidic, how am I supposed to judge if everyone's a critic?
I don't know if that'll pause it because it was right in between the two tracks. It might keep up. Yeah, see, you hear that? Some of that buzzing is from the equipment here, but not all of it. The persecution of the Christian churches. This will motivate me. The Nazi war on the Christian churches began more moderately, though Hitler, nominally a Catholic, had invaded against political Catholicism in Mein Kampf and attacked both of the Christian churches for their failure to recognize the racial problem. He had, as we have seen, warned in his book that, quote, a political party must never lose sight of the fact that in all previous historical experience, a purely political party has never succeeded in producing a religious reformation, end quote. Article 24 of the party program had demanded, quote, liberty for all religious denominations in the state, so far as they are not a danger to the moral feelings of the German race. That's the way it's phrased here. The party stands for positive Christianity, end quote. I hate that word positive. In his speech of March 23rd, 1933, to the Reichstag, when the legislative body of Germany abandoned its functions to the dictator, Hitler paid tribute to the Christian faiths as, quote, essential elements for safeguarding the soul of the German people, end quote, promised to respect their rights, declared that his government's, quote, ambition is a peaceful accord between church and state, end quote, and added, with an eye to the votes of the Catholic Center Party, which he received, that, quote, we hope to improve our friendly relations with the Holy See, end quote. Scarcely 4 months later, on July 20th, 1933, the Nazi government concluded a concordat with the Vatican in which it guaranteed the freedom of the Catholic religion and the right of the Church, end quote, to regulate her own affairs, end quote. The agreement, signed on behalf of Germany by Papen and of the Holy See by the then Papal Secretary of State, Monsignor Pacelli, later Pope Pius XII, was hardly put to paper before it was being broken by the Nazi government. If you dance with the devil doesn't change, the devil changes you. It's a reference to a Batman movie. It's a Joker line, but it's true. I'm pretty sure that's where I got it from. Is that the one, Have You Ever Danced with the Devil in the Pale? No, there's another one. Is that a Bruce Willis song? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it came from. It's true. It's kind of like the Steven Seagal movie. It's okay to talk to the cops as long as you don't tell them anything. I got that from a Steven Seagal movie. I couldn't figure out how to phrase it to these idiots. No, because people will come to me with the same concern. They're like, oh, people see me speaking to the cops, all of a sudden think I'm a snitch or something. Like, no, dog, we know. If they run up on you, you're gonna, I don't want to talk to you. Well, now we're gonna fuck your whole day up, right? You drive and just, no, I don't talk to you. Well, you can't. It doesn't work that way. Was hardly put to paper before it was being broken by the Nazi government, becoming as it did at a moment when the first excesses of the new regime in Germany had provoked worldwide revulsion. Excesses. The Concordat undoubtedly lent the Hitler government much badly needed prestige. Remember, they didn't all have the internet and things. Like the Pope couldn't go on Twitter and say, well, we just got screwed over in agreement. They were going around, hey, look at our agreement, look at our agreement, look at our agreement. Like there was no way to counter shit. Excesses. They don't make them real because it's chain glisten. That's G-Lock. Locke's World. It says here, in an allocution to the Sacred College on June 2nd, 1945, Pope Pius XII defended the Concordat, which he had signed, but described National Socialism, Nazism, as he later came to know it as, quote, the arrogant apostasy from Jesus Christ, the denial of his doctrine and of his work of redemption, the cult of violence, the idolatry of race and blood, the overthrow of human liberty and dignity, end quote. That's the guy that signed the agreement with them, telling me what he thinks after the fact of dealing with them. On July 25th, 5 days after the ratification of the Concordat, the German government, I don't know what all the detail their procedures are, the German government promulgated a sterilization law which particularly offended the Catholic Church. 5 days later, the first steps were taken to dissolve the Catholic Youth League. So I've got a 100-watt bulb here, and then my head is like, if I hold it right here, I've got a shadow, so I've got this ring around what I'm trying to read. During the next year, I know that's my fault, isn't it? Because there's supposed to be I got to get a fucking power bar. Oh. During the next, you notice I keep making a show of rotating the phones because I got 2 chargers and 3 phones because I burnt out the 4th one and one of the chargers. Anyway. 5 days later, the first steps were taken to dissolve the Catholic Youth League. I always start with the kids, eh? During the next years, thousands of Catholic priests, nuns, and lay leaders were arrested, many of them on trumped-up charges of, quote, immorality, end quote, or of, quote, smuggling foreign currency, end quote. Now that's interesting, because I always make my position on this tobacco is it is SEMA. It is Mohawk SEMA. It has been trafficked directly to me from the Mohawk. I have to pay people if they transport it for me, okay? This isn't me buying something, eh? This is my payment for doing what I do out here. I'm a smoker. I need this shit. That's why they give it to me. Okay. It is our currency. It's been our currency for thousands of years. The Canadian dollar has not been around that long. Spanish dollar, Mexican peso, US dollar, Scottish pound, Irish pound, British pound, Canadian dollar, euro. I know it's relatively new. But Newfoundland joined the Confederacy after World War II. At the same time, the Eurozone started. Oh, so we've effectively dealt with 8 bullshit, you could say 7, bullshit currencies so far over the last 500 years. Now, I don't know what the Norse used for money. I have no idea. They're women, because look at all this red hair. Or are women, I don't know. Sex, let's just leave it at that. Smuggling foreign currency. Oh yeah, so that if this government wanted to fuck us, they'd say, "Oh, that's foreign currency. We have a new foreign currency rule." In the CIA World Fact Book says Canada is a hotbed for money laundering because of our banking system. It's safe in terms of your money is safe in the account, and you can move it to wherever, to whatever currency you want. You can go to the bank machine, take it out, you can spend it. You can deposit if you really want, I guess. Eric Klausner, leader, if you don't want all the interludes and shit and all my opinions, go buy the book. Eric Klausner, William L. Shirer. I left that part out. Eric Klausner, leader of Catholic Action, was, as we have seen, murdered in the June 30th, 1934 purge. Scores of Catholic publications were suppressed, and even the sanctity of the confessional was violated by Gestapo agents. By the spring of 1937, the Catholic hierarchy in Germany, which, like most of the Protestant clergy, had at first tried to cooperate with the new regime, was thoroughly disillusioned. So this was after my grandfather was born, before my grandmother was born. And then on the other side, on my mother's side, this will be around the time everything turned sideways in the Netherlands. And I can't get a straight answer, but sometime around here is when they came here. Sometime from here onward is when they came here. When shit turned sideways, but I can't get a straight answer. So, no, this wartime, nobody. You see my legal last name, it gets misspelled every which fucking way. And we have found it misspelled multiple ways in the archives. So just imagine all the ways we haven't found it. If you go back to the Netherlands, oh, they kept records, yes. Decentralized. Every fucking little town and village had its own notary public. So since the records are decentralized, you got to search by each individual fucking town, by each spelling, and so on and so forth. And I don't know if any of that shit's even on computer, right? Because it's all in fucking Dutch, and I am not literate in Dutch. I can roll a joint. I can drink with the Canadians, but I otherwise not literate in Dutch. Disillusion. On March 14th, 1937, Pope Pius XI, issued an encyclical Mit brennender Sorge, with burning sorrow, charging the Nazi government with quote-unquote evasion and quote-unquote violation of the Concordat, and accusing it of sowing, quote, the tares of suspicion, discord, hatred, calumny, I don't know what that is, of secret and open fundamental hostility to Christ and his church, end quote. You get the idea of what he's saying, though. On, quote, the horizon of Germany, end quote, the Pope saw, quote, the threatening storm clouds of destructive religious wars, which have no other aim than of extermination, end quote. And the subject changes a little bit right there.
Closed. And now southbound 400 from Kirby to Major Mackenzie, 2 left lanes are closed. And at the 407, they've closed off the 3 left lanes. And just having a look through that stretch, I'm not spotting any big delays. Volume is quite light tonight. If you're traveling on the eastbound 401, just east of Dixie in the Express, they're closing
off
the
how I know it's a military thing that the Tim Hortons are still
eastbound
running?
401 at Nielsen Road and the transfer to the collectors, we have all lanes closed in that transfer for construction.
So I can walk to the 4 corners of the fucking district and fucking make sure everything's cool along the way while I'm going to go get my goddamn coffee. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I would have done it. Thank you. Message received, sir.
Single lane construction. Yes, you can still hire the gardener to keep your yard green. No, you don't have to come near them.
If I had a car,
the things the gardener
I would just drive around. Go to the other McDonald's. Why would I go to this one? Right. 3 fucking coffee cards.
Now with the forecast, here's Natasha Ramsey.
I trade them into
After a mainly
gasoline or
clear
something.
evening, we are going to increase the cloud overnight tonight
Something.
down
I
below
should get
6
$1 off
degrees,
insurance
waking up
with
to some
this shit.
showers. Looks like some lingering drizzle until just after lunch, and then dry
There
for
should
the
be,
rest of the
it should
afternoon.
just
Still
say on the back
overcast, though,
here,
with a high
pay
of
to the
10
order of,
degrees. Overnight
and I
tonight
should be
down
able to
below
like write
6
my
degrees.
insurance company's name, my account number, and mail them in.
Right now in
They go,
downtown
oh yeah, we
Toronto,
just deposit
it
these
is
at the
13
ATM like
degrees
$1
and
bills.
partly cloudy.
And
Similar
McDonald's would be
conditions
like,
at
yeah, you're
Pearson
saving us
Airport,
$2,
6
so we'll pay
meters
$1
time.
towards insurance. For them to get a car to live up to our stupid made-up rule that you can't walk to the drive-through window. I can drive up to the walk-up window down on Bloor Street. I fucking can.
Walking down a busy sidewalk, especially if everyone in your neighborhood heads out at the same time.
Watch me.
That's why Mayor John Tory has announced a new
playing,
initiative
I
to
won't do
help
it.
keep a good
But I could.
physical distance while Torontonians are out and
Sidewalks
about.
are wide.
It's
That
called
window's right
Curb
there. Why
TO.
shouldn't I? There's a
City's
sidewalk cut
joins
right
us
there.
live
It's right
with
on the
an
corner.
explanation.
Mhm.
Phil.
Oh, yeah, I
Caitlin,
just gave it away,
the idea
handlebars.
is by closing some traffic lanes, you can give pedestrians more physical distancing space. Mayor John Tory says the city will be rolling out fixes at an initial 10 spots across the city starting today.
Primarily, the hotspots and pinch points are where there is sidewalk crowding and temporary parking concerns that tend to be around.
Stop parking on the Mafia's parking lot. You ain't buying nothing from the Mafia businesses.
The initiative
What happened to
will
my home
expand over
screen?
100
Oh, there it
locations
is.
across the city. Now, the initial list of spots includes Front and Berkeley, Gerrard and Parliament, and Bloor and Bathurst. Also part of Curb DO,
Gerrard and
temporary
Parliament.
parking pickup zones for drivers,
Yeah,
allowing them
yeah.
to park for up to 10 minutes in close proximity to an essential business in otherwise
it's Regent
restricted
Park.
parking
It's,
areas. Phil Martino,
Ontario
680
Street.
News.
What's the fucking
680 News Time,
Jamestown,
8:04
whatever.
earlier today,
Crescent
Premier
Town. What the
Doug
fuck's
Ford laid out the framework of how the province
There's
will
an
get
economy
back
there,
up and
right?
running
You see how many? You see those buildings? There's a lot of people in there.
We know the how,
They
but
gotta
not
buy
the
stuff
when.
too,
The
right?
Ford government outlining what it is calling the framework on easing COVID-19
You think they don't get around? They don't work.
Premier
There's
Doug
buses and
Ford
parking
says
lots
this is
full
not
of
a
cars and
calendar
everything.
with
You
definite
think they don't work? You
timelines.
think they don't
This
get around and do
framework
things? They don't
is
have
a
things to take
roadmap.
care of?
It will guide our collective decision-making. It lays out
I'll tell you right now,
the
you can't
threshold
walk down
we need to
Parliament
hit,
on the road.
the targets we need to work towards.
The framework has 3 stages, each lasting
Maybe.
2 to 4 weeks. And
I
if
don't
there
wanna
is a
try.
worsening of the
Jesus.
situation,
You
we
got
could go
parking on
back a
both
stage.
sides. It's a
Stage
crazy
1
level
could
of
include
traffic in the
opening
mother
select
lanes.
workplaces that can modify operations, as well as opening some parks. Stage 2 could include opening more
What am I looking
businesses and
for?
allowing some larger public
Airplane mode.
gatherings. Well, stage 3 would open all workplaces. There would still be no large sporting events or concerts. I'm Irene Precklett.
680 News Time, 8:05. Once the 3-phase plan to restart the province's economy goes into place,
Account
how
balance is
long could it
$0.
take? 680's Michelle Mackey tells us it has a lot to do with 4 health thresholds that
Yes.
need to be met as the plan
Allow
unfolds. She
speak to
joins us
record
live
audio.
with the details. Michelle.
Caitlin, Health Minister Christine Elliott says
I'm gonna
virus
allow.
spread and containment, health system capacity, public health system
Allow.
capacity, and incidence tracking capacity are the key thresholds.
Fewer daily cases of COVID-19, ongoing health system capacity, ensuring public health units can contact new cases within the day, and continuing to expand testing to ensure effective surveillance.
Once met, each stage in the reopening plan will be monitored by public health officials for 2 to 4 weeks. But
Yeah, I still haven't got my phone working correctly since the last time the battery. Every time the battery dies,
health criteria.
fucks up. I know why
We
they
still
left this
have
phone in
numbers
the alley.
well over 400. We just came
Oh, it
out
was
down
unlocked,
below
no SIM card,
600,
nothing.
500.
I turned it on
So
and it
we
was
have
working.
a ways to go before we get to start our first 2-week period.
That's Ontario's Chief Medical Officer
Oh,
of Health,
it was an
Dr. David
expensive
Williams,
phone.
who says based on the daily number of
But
new
it's got
cases, we
issues.
are still in the pandemic phase. Reporting live, I'm Michelle Mackey.
As the provincial government reveals its initial plans to reopen Ontario's economy, Faiza Amin of City News spoke to city officials about what it could mean for the city of Toronto.
The city's having the same conversations the province is. They put a team in place that will
On
decide when and
reflection,
how
the
to
caffeine user
reopen
picks up his
Toronto.
mess in preparation for the
And
next cup.
Toronto will
Doesn't
be
want to
back.
spoil the next cup
We
looking
will
at the
bring
mess
back
from the last cup.
jobs. We will bring back the record-breaking construction, the film and TV production, the tech boom, the arts and culture, and all the
From
rest of what
Hollywood
made us
North to
consistently
Detroit
one of
North.
the 10
Oh!
most livable cities in the entire world.
Now, the city isn't giving a specific date as to when restrictions could be lifted, only saying we have to continue to follow public health measures as we continue to see new infections. Some of these considerations include a decrease
I gotta
in the
bring the
number of
tea bag
new
outside for the
COVID-19 cases over time, sufficient acute and critical healthcare capacity, and the availability of personal protective equipment. I'm Faiza Me for
These
City
are all
News.
bar charts and everything. They got this
680 News
all
Time,
worked. Did we
8:07,
have
and
crazy
meantime, officials say
statisticians
they're seeing
with
promising
no
signs
hockey
that
games to
public health
watch?
measures are slowly beginning to net
Hey, the
positive
faster you get,
results
the
here
better
in
you do at
Toronto.
this job, the
Medical
sooner we get
Officer of
hockey.
Health Dr.
Really?
Eileen
Okay,
Davila
how many
says
mass
while the results are
storage
promising, you're
locations
being
you got,
urged not to ease up on physical distancing.
As it relates
They're gonna
to
say,
our city,
Not
order for us
95,
to be
ON
truly
95,
effective
and
in
native
reopening,
95. That's going to be the three
we must
types made in
continue with
Ontario.
our
Wow.
public health measures
Not 95, because we're going to
until
give them away
we are
for
in a
free. We don't
safe
even
enough
want you selling them.
to relax them.
They're real. They're just, you can't sell them because those ones won't get
in
certified.
the city.
680 News Time, 8:08. We have an update on a story we told you about earlier today. York Regional Health officials saying there are now 7 confirmed COVID-19 cases at a Costco in Vaughan. In a statement released this evening, York Regional Public Health say they are investigating the 7 cases among several staff at the Costco
It's all the way up there in
located
Vaughan.
at
Yeah,
Colossus
it's not
Drive.
that far of a
Earlier this
drive.
morning, Vaughan's
If you're a
mayor tweeted that
Costco
health
shopper,
officials were
you
treating
will drive
5
up there
people
once a month.
that had contracted the virus.
This could be
York
big.
Region's health officials say that the risk of transmission to the general public is low, and due to privacy concerns, will not release which areas of the store the affected employees have worked at.
680.
Hold on. You think I'm gonna find out their fucking home address from you telling me, oh, the electronics or
We still can't see them play.
coffee and tea? Like, what the fuck? You think I'm not gonna?
Any news on when the Raptors will make an official return to the hard court? The NBA has
I
announced
just want to know if I walk through that part of this. No,
possibly
you can't tell me
reopening
that. Are
training
you
sites,
serious?
but
They won't
it
even.
won't happen before the 8th of May. Mayor John Tory talked about the Raptors
This
today during his
jurisdiction does
daily
not like
update.
I have had some
misinformation
very initial
unless they're
discussions
behind
with the management of the Toronto Raptors. They have indicated the basis upon which they might use their practice facility, which is located at Exhibition Place. And now those discussions will happen in earnest with respect to whether or not those can be consistent with public health objectives and with everything else that has to be taken into account in making a decision like that.
The NBA suspended the season on March 11th, the first of the major sports leagues to act.
Toronto police updating their investigation into the weekend shooting death of a teen boy in North York.
Detective Sergeant Henri Marsman says Jeremiah was shot within 15 seconds of getting into a white SUV just before 6 Sunday evening.
You think you got a car he recognized with somebody so jumpy they just went off in 10 seconds? Like, that was a setup team, man. That was a setup team. Don't even try and tell me that wasn't no setup. That was a setup team.
This all happened at 1884 Shepherd Avenue West, not far
The other
from Main
homeboy don't
Street.
look like he knew it was about to happen either, because they
Jeremiah's
both
mother
come running
told
out
them
the
her
car.
son got a call just before he went outside. Marsman will
I
not
challenge
comment
you to
on the
run
likelihood
60,
of the at
20
least
fucking
two
meters.
people in that
20
SUV
fucking steps.
planning
Big
on
step.
killing
20
Jeremiah,
fucking big
or
steps.
whether or not
With a
Jeremiah
fucking
may have
gunshot
started
in
the
your
violence
hip
himself.
/ buttock.
You'll find
That
surveillance
he
camera
bled out
images of
from.
Jeremiah and another
That's how
boy
bad the
getting
wound
into and
was.
out of the
I
SUV
challenge you to
at
do that.
680news.com. Outside 31 Division Headquarters, I'm Mark Douglas.
Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day.
This
Where the soldiers is from.
Now the 680 News gas price live in the Princess Margaret Home Lottery is in 4 days. Don't miss our world famous $1.5
Bunch of
million
young kids with nothing but a 20.
stunning Kawartha lakefront cottage built by Linwood with over 3,000 square feet of luxury. It comes fully furnished, complete with dock. All this
There's another
could be
fucking
yours
match. Where are these matches
along
coming
with
from? I'm losing matches.
$30,000
I must be.
Don't wait. The
No.
early bird deadline is in 4
Fuck this
days.
one come from, bro?
Tickets at princessmargaretlotto.com. Now the 680 News gas price update. Pro predicting price of gas and not going to change at midnight, holding at 82.9 cents a liter at most GTA stations.
680 News Time 8:11.
Traffic and weather
Oh
together
shit,
on
my
the
boy's
650
shift change. I keep forgetting his shift change.
Construction on the eastbound Gardner Ave Parkland. We had some problems over on the shoulder, and it looks like all lanes have been reopened. However, we have plenty of construction now taking up the eastbound 401 east of Dixie in the Express. Construction in the two right lanes, and on the eastbound 401 at Nielsen Road, they've closed off the
I
transfer.
didn't set out to collect shot glasses. They just started coming my
Also,
way.
eastbound 401 at Fort Union and the collectors,
got
two left lanes are closed for construction. The northbound Pine Valley ramp to eastbound 407 is closed now. Southbound 400, plenty of road work going on tonight. At Highway 89, two left lanes closed. At King Road, two right lanes are closed. From Kirby to Major Mackenzie, two left lanes have been closed up. And then at the 407, they've closed the three left lanes. Here's some good news in all of this. At Jameson and Springhurst, earlier problems have cleared and all lanes have been reopened along Jameson. Your next report is at
Oh yeah,
8:21.
that little
Now with the
middle of
forecast,
nowhere
here is
little
Natasha Ramsey.
intersection. It's a busy interchange, eh? It's a vital interchange.
Increasing that cloud cover tonight, and by the time you wake up in the morning, we should be into some light showers. 6 degrees to start, 10 degrees.
$1,500 to live in a bachelor on
slightly
Jameson.
below
I'm
seasonal.
upset.
And it looks like the showers and drizzle will end around 1-2 p.m. So we'll be dry through the rest of the afternoon and evening. But by Wednesday morning, back into the showers. It looks like the heaviest of the rain will be Wednesday night, though, into Thursday morning. Also very gusty on Wednesday with a high of 11 degrees. Tonight, we're down to a low of 6 degrees. Right now, downtown Toronto, 12 degrees, a few clouds in the sky. At Pearson, it is
Now there's a problem. I got a
11.
fucking camera enemy. I don't know what the fuck out of the corner of my eye. I'm not sure what I just saw.
And remember, 680 News, the only Toronto radio station with a weather guarantee, which currently sits, wow, to $22,700 for your chance at the cash. Head to 680news.com/contest. There will be soon one less option when it comes to having your food or booze brought to your door. Here's 680's Richard Southern.
It's Foodora that
It
is
used to be
exiting
2 degrees,
Canada.
now it's
The
3.
food and alcohol
And they
delivery
weren't as good at this before, so they used to give out like $500, $1,000 all the time. Now it's $20,000, $40,000, and they still ain't giving shit away.
Its decision to exit the Canadian market
It was based on the fact they couldn't figure out how to make money. Well, that's
Labor
reasonable.
Relations Board ruled that Foodora couriers have the right to unionize. Now, Foodora didn't mention that ruling in its press release today, saying only that it had not been able to reach a level of profitability.
No, but in Canada, we know that about a few different companies that have been told outright, if you unionize, we'll just leave Canada. They've been told it outright.
Coming up in 60 seconds, we'll recap
You
your
like the
top
job,
stories.
you don't unionize.
It's just 680 News.
Hi, it's Tony Chapman, host of the podcast Chatter That Matters. Thanks to the incredible support of RBC, we're focusing on the heart of the Canadian economy.
One of the next episodes
Lisa Taylor creates
is
Challenge
about
Factory to answer this
labor
question.
unions and
The mental health aspect of
outlawing strikes without outlawing them.
not
Yeah,
exactly
everything Hitler
what
did
you
was
want to be
legal
doing,
because
but
he wrote
feeling
the
like you have
laws.
to keep at it.
Challenge Factory becomes a successful research-based consultancy, helping clients create productive and purposeful cultures.
Oh
and
my
then
God.
COVID-19 arrives.
Well,
What's going to happen next month?
one guy because his shift changed what you got.
Our experts arrive with advice for Lisa
The
and
same
for all of
shit
us.
for fucking
Download
years.
Chatter That Matters wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks again to RBC for your support of Small Business Matters.
When you use a War Amps key tag, you protect your keys. If you lose your keys, the finder can call the War Amps or drop them in any mailbox. And the War
Wired
Amps
to
will
identify
return them to you by
myself.
courier for free. Order your
This
key
little
tags
special
today at
sticker I got with an extra trillium and an Ontario logo, like with the word Ontario. Valid driver's license photo only. Photo de premier de conduire valide de l'Ontario so much. So this is a valid photo.
And I'm Kate Lee. Here are the top
They give you that when you upgrade your license. This card's no good no more. You gotta wait for the new one.
His plan to extend portions of sidewalks into streets in
They
high
used to.
traffic
They don't
areas.
do none of this
To
anymore.
offer
Everything
easier
goes.
physical distancing, it'll start at 10 intersections. Those include Bloor and Bathurst, Front and Berkeley, and King and Spadina. Getting back to business could be a while here in Ontario, but the Premier released outlining the province's framework for restarting the economy in a three-phase plan, all dependent on 4 health thresholds that we should be passing. You can check out a few handy-dandy charts.
No, I don't need my health card.
680news.com
Fuck you.
that outline
I want every delay possible to not go to the nigga got shot, didn't go to the IU. No, I'm not getting in the ambulance. I'm gonna go with the guys. The guys who get shot at. What decisions they make, I should only
facilities
go
and
with them.
cities that will allow it. Only 4 players would be allowed in the facility at any time, and they would have to wear face masks except for when they do any sort of physical activity. Staff members would also have to wear masks and gloves, but at all times.
What isn't
Sean
physical?
Correa of The Athletic also reports that players will have to undergo a pair of tests before they resume engaging in activities at the facilities. Don't expect to see any Toronto sports teams in person for a while. Ontario Premier
By the
Doug
way,
Ford
I'm
says
never
large
going to show
gatherings
you
like
my
sporting
morning
events
hair
and
ever
concerts
again.
remain
Oh, sometimes it looks like that. It's not the morning. It's
When
just
they do
today was
return, it will likely be without fans in attendance. And in NHL news, John
That's
McDonough
why
has
it's
been
on
released
video.
from his
It's
role
never
as
showing
president and
Go look at my
CEO
head
of the
shaved and look at
Chicago
that and see why I shaved
Sports
my
at
fucking head.
15:45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/59.
Yeah, I'm gonna find a girl that can handle that.
680 is
A
time,
barber that can handle that.
8:17.
It's not gonna. What the fuck? I burn out fucking razors, so I don't want to buy no more.
Join 680 News
For a
with
little
Scotiabank
plantation,
in
baby. Go get your
Operation
nanny
Support
duck out
Local.
there.
It's Steve
Fuck
Roberts.
you.
These local businesses are a part of our life, and while we'll recover, many places need your help to survive. We encourage you to support local so we can keep the places you love open. And it all starts with you. To submit or find a local business to support, visit 680news.com/support local. Operation Support Local.
In partnership with our friends, Scotiabank. We're in this together.
Our
To
friends.
discover this year's most innovative
We're
new
friends
products,
now.
visit Product
Whoa.
of the
Hey,
Year
can I have the key to the
.ca.
ATM, Dusty Girl, since we're friends? No, I'll use my card to take out my money. I just need to get to the.
Thousands of Canadians have voted for the
I'm not gonna sleep in there. I won't disturb the homeless person that you somehow let in every fucking night. I'm not begrudging them that. Let them sleep in there. Why are you locking me out if the justification was to keep them out and they're in there anyway?
are yours to behold at
Goddamn money.
productoftheyear.ca.
If they think you were gonna keep me money so long, I would have taken it out sooner.
New report
Run
says
on the bank,
Ontario is dealing with a huge number of price gouging complaints. Here's 680 business editor Chris McCusker.
The Toronto Star says there have been almost 20,000 complaints. So many, in fact, that staff are being redirected to help deal with the influx. Most of the complaints have been filed on a new online portal, which was launched by Premier Doug
I usually
Ford about a
carry an
month
extra,
ago.
eh?
A
Like-
spokesperson for Government and Consumer Services Minister Lisa Thompson tells the paper both inquiries and complaints have focused most often on 4 necessary goods: hand sanitizer, N95 masks,
disinfectant wipes, and toilet paper. The Star couldn't confirm whether any charges had been laid. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the federal government has been working with the provinces and territories on a set of guidelines for reopening their economies. He says it's not up to the feds to determine what is in their best interests.
They have the responsibility to do what is right for their citizens. Every province is in different situations. Regions within the provinces are in different situations. And I have full confidence in the premiers of the provinces and the territories to move forward in a way that is right for them.
Among the guidelines to help them make the decisions, make sure you have enough medical capacity to handle a potential surge, make sure you're doing enough testing, and make sure there are specific guidelines in place for specific sectors and industries. Conservative leader Andrew Scheer is now condemning controversial comments from one of his MPs after refusing to do so last week.
Those are not the positions of myself nor this caucus.
Oh, fuck, I stepped on the notch. Where are these damn matches coming from?
People's loyalty. We have differences of opinion as to what should or shouldn't
Why
have
couldn't
been
I find him last night? Where
I
the
think
fuck
that
are you
is
going?
that is an unacceptable place to take the
Clean up the
conversation.
notch.
Here
Never
with
leave
MP and Leadership candidate Derek Sloan will face any disciplinary actions for his remarks. Last week, Sloan posted a video to social media calling for Chief Public Health Officer Dr. Theresa Tam to be fired, and then questioned if she worked for Canada or China. Many MPs from all parties slammed the remarks as racist and intolerant, and the Prime Minister said Canadians expect more from their elected representatives. You're with All News Radio 680 News at 8:20. Stateside to New York, where prosecutors are accusing two men
dumb public health notices these people sign off on that are horribly inaccurate. If you see somebody choking, walk up and slap them on the back. It says that on the goddamn sign that just got put up
Federal prosecutors in
on the
Brooklyn
last meal before they shut down these meals.
Company and claim to have contracts to sell millions of masks that they didn't actually own. They wanted the investor to wire $4 million, but he became suspicious and went to the authorities. The FBI called the alleged behavior a betrayal of fellow
You
citizens.
should have gone
and prosecutors
to the
decried
Ontario
taking
government,
advantage
Doug.
of the urgent
Doug Ford
national
will hook
need
you
for
up, Doug.
life-saving protective gear. Aaron
Hey, you
Kutcherski,
live in the
ABC
Rex.
News, New York. And a
His
rapper
brother, the
has
man.
raised millions for COVID-19 relief by covering Nirvana songs.
Hello, everyone.
And if you need lawn signs, he can hook you up.
And some friends, including Blue 182's Travis Barker, Rip the
Yeah, some pussy hole did a cover of Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit. I blocked it out of my head. I heard about 2 seconds of it before I instinctively turned the volume off. You do what you want, brethren, but I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. No, because I saw here in Canada, 3 in the morning on fucking Much Music, watching the last MTV thing unplugged. Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, unplugged MTV. Yeah, dog, if you're gonna watch some white boy rock music, that's it right there. Oh, you can get high and drunk to that shit, dog, no matter where you come from. For real. I don't want to hear no new kid younger than me playing that music. Please, no. If you remixed it into some sort of rap thing, maybe. No, I don't want to hear you doing what he did, trying to outdo him, man.
Closed because of road work. Westbound 401, I'm only seeing some road work through Kennedy and the Express. Again, left lane affected. Southbound 400 at King Road, the two right lanes rather are blocked because of road work. From Kirby to Major Mackenzie, 2 left lanes are closed. And finally at the 407, southbound 400, 3 left lanes are closed because of construction, but I'm not spotting any delays. Roto-Rooter is fully prepared to continue to serve you in this difficult time to help with any of your drain, plumbing, or disinfection needs. Contact them 24/7 online at rotorooter.com. Your next report is at 8:31. Now with the forecast, here is Natasha Ramsahai.
Patio cushions inside. Bring them in before you head off to bed tonight. We've got rain pretty much every day for the rest of the week.
I'm going to find patio cushions and lawn furniture all up and down the road.
The afternoon is overcast but dry at
If it ain't got your address on it, you ain't getting it back, eh?
Another round of morning showers. At this point, everything remains light, but by Wednesday, late afternoon, evening, and overnight, that's when the heaviest rain of the week will be 20 to 30 and even up to 40 millimeters by Thursday morning. The high on Wednesday, 11 degrees. Thursday afternoon,
She just said 20 to 30 to 40. She started at 20, like low ball and up to 40. It's going to be 50, I'm
Tonight,
sure.
we're down to a low of 6 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, it is 12 degrees, a few clouds in the sky, partly cloudy at Pearson, and 11.
Coming up at 8:30, when you need to leave home, walking down the sidewalk these days feels like a game of Frogger, avoiding as many people as you can. That's why the mayor is announcing Curb TO to help with physical distancing. We'll explain straight ahead.
680 News Time 8:23.
On May 2nd, the Today Showstopper at TSC will be the
So I
Beauty
know I'm on
Bio
the right
Glow
path.
Pro Microneedling Regeneration Facial and Body Set, complete with sculptor firming body cream. Easy and comfortable to use in just 60 seconds a day. Microneedling helps stimulate skin with painless exfoliation and
Microneedling?
rejuvenation for clinically proven smoother skin.
That sounds
Get it
bad.
on May 2nd, when it's the Today
That sounds like something.
Showstopper. Shop TSC.
You wake up in that dentist chair, hypothetically, like I said, let's say we're making a movie, I catch you breaking into the fucking dentist's office and for drugs. You wake up in that chair, oh no, what are you going to do to me, dog? Microneedling. You don't even know what that is. It sounds bad, don't it?
The suit alleges the city has violated the Charter of Rights and Freedoms of shelter residents and breached the Ontario Human Rights Code because the shelters are not set up for proper physical distancing. They want an immediate injunction in order to rectify the situation. The city saying it's working tirelessly to find out solutions.
Ironically, it was the country of Iran that took Canada to task over this at the UN. What, 19 years? How many years we counting now? Like long time. We did like about 15, 20 years.
By another 4 weeks until June 29th.
Tuberculosis, hepatitis C, G, and C.
Follows WestJet's announcement last week to remove some 18,000 flights between May 5th and June 4th due to record low passenger numbers.
Tuberculosis, hepatitis B, C, bed bugs,
to the U.S. starting today.
scabies somehow.
Closure with the U.S. by 30 days. If you
they caught the shelter staff are the ones spreading it. They caught them. When they're looking for the vector, they don't care about politics. They look for how it's actually happening. They go, excuse me, we just saw you do this. You say, no, I wouldn't do that. All you want. We saw you do it.
Of that group, a significant number
Intent means nothing to a virus.
Has worsened a lot.
Over 40% of Canadians say they are feeling anxious or worried, but 1/3 of Canadians are still feeling gratitude amid the pandemic. Coming up in 60 seconds, we'll check in with Richard Sisson
It's
at
not
the
easy.
Remote Business Center.
It's far from easy. Oh, it's easier here in a lot of places. But you will carry your own
We're
weight.
ready to help all homeowners with any kind of emergency maintenance and repairs. Plumbing problems, furnace and AC problems, electrical problems, water damages, foundation leaks, roof leaks, window leaks, and much more. You have a problem, call AGM.
Oh, my chocolate.
They can fix any kind of emergency maintenance and repairs in your home. For an express and safeguarded service visit, call
The secondary teachers of Dufferin Peel understand the impact of COVID-19 on our students who no longer have school, clubs,
in case I get stuck somewhere. I need the energy to fucking run back home.
is there, offering young people free,
It's trench warfare in this neighborhood, eh? Duffel cover, eh?
chat and text. The need is greater than ever. Please donate at kidshelpphone.ca to make sure they can always be there. A message from the Catholic secondary teachers of Dufferin Peel, proud supporters of children and youth.
Well, it won't leak out of the package onto the bandanas.
Porter Airlines says the whole
It was all in sealed
remain on the
packages.
ground at Billy Bishop Airport until the end of
Because,
June.
you know,
Porter
that's
hasn't
perfectly
flown a single flight since March 21st and says it won't until June 29th. The company was planning to restart operations on June 1st, but CEO Michael Deleuze pushing that schedule back. Like all airlines, it's been hard hit, perhaps more so than the rest of them, because it hasn't flown a single flight since the end of March. Porter has previously issued temporary layoff notices to most of its 1,500 staff members. All right, to King Street next. Mervish Productions, biggest theater company in the city, is postponing the beginning of its new season until 2021. Until January due to the pandemic. David Merver says the company will still show all the shows that previously announced. It'll just start in January, not September. The new Merver season includes the Andrew Lloyd Webber musicals Love Never Dies and Jesus Christ Superstar.
Cats, the
Health
Cats
officials
and the
giving okay,
Miserables.
they'll get their Come From Away production up and
Yeah,
running.
real dogs know what I'm
Look at
talking
this.
about.
Meantime, Foodora, soon to be done in Canada. A story we've been talking about here on 680 News today. The German-owned food delivery app company says it'll make its
I thought
delivery in
Uber
Canada
was German.
on May
Isn't
11th,
Uber a German?
inciting The inability to be profitable. However, its decision to pull out comes just 2 months after the Ontario Labour Relations Board allowed its couriers to unionize. On the markets, the TSX higher up 221 points today to 14,642. The Dow was up 358 points to 24,133. S&P up 1.5%, and the Nasdaq up 1.1%. Retail stocks look good as a number of jurisdictions, both at home and abroad,
as the edges get a little bit dinged up, it raises up a bit and it protects the whole flat part from getting scratched.
Canadian dollar higher at 71 and
well, that's why I didn't wear it for so long before. Why would I? I didn't want to damage it prematurely. I wanted people to see it because
times can put a strain on your finances. If you're finding it difficult to cover your monthly expenses, keep up with minimum payments, and manage your debt load, a BDO licensed insolvency trustee will provide a free over-the-phone consultation.
Oh, I bet, because right now people can just stop paying things. They don't need to. They just stop paying. I just stop paying. What are they going to do? Everybody's stopping paying.
To ensuring you get the debt help you need. When you
Why would you pay this guy Gino?
1-855 BDO debt to book a free phone consultation.
The Salvation
Yeah,
Army
bankruptcy costs money. I've done
personnel and volunteers who are working tirelessly.
A lot less than what they wanted from me, but
during COVID-19.
yeah, when you got nothing, they take every last penny.
Continues to impact our communities across the nation. The Salvation Army is adjusting its programs and services to bring help and hope to those who need it most. Join us and support our neighbors in need. To donate, visit salvationarmy.ca or call 1-800-SAL-ARMY.
15 seconds away.
This
Almost
is
15
CFTR
seconds
680
away.
News. It's 8:30.
So, 15 seconds.
Number one
I
for
don't know why.
news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Here are Scott Burnett and Caitlin Lee.
That clock's been running for 50
April
fucking years.
27th.
Here's what's making news right now.
The city of Toronto has
Off
launched a
nuclear
new
power.
initiative aimed
And
at
it's
helping
glow in
to
the dark.
stop the spread of
It's nuclear
COVID-19.
power.
It involves shutting down parts of traffic lanes to give pedestrians more space
Right here.
to maintain physical distancing. It's being called a guide, but if you thought Ontario's plan to ease COVID-19 restrictions would have a timeline, you'll be disappointed by the three-stage process. Before the economy reaches each
It's
stage
a roadmap, not a calendar. It's either one or the other.
top health officials must be met. A battle over reopening
there it is.
America.
This virus doesn't go home. There's a hunger for getting our country back.
How some states are slowly resuming life.
We've got some details from the
Dos
NBA
Denari,
on what players and
Yugoslav.
staff must do
That's not how you
when
say
some
two,
practice
is it?
facilities reopen next month. Sports at 45.
Apple delays production of its new iPhones. We'll let you know why and what it did to the stock. Broader markets kicked off the week with a
Not a
moneymaker.
real business.
TSX
Not
gained
sustainable.
221 points. Business
So
at
$1,200
56.
phones. A phone call for 50 cents. I like a block I know for 25 cents.
Here is Christine Lango. This report is brought to you by GP Bikes. Now we have construction
Oh,
set
I
up
have
on
to
the
charge
southbound
nothing. It's
410
plugged in all the
Steele,
time. It's
the
perfect.
HOV lane, as well as the left lane blocked off. On the southbound 400 and Highway 89, the two
You're not
left
gonna
lanes
tell
are
me
closed for
nothing
construction, but it doesn't stop
All right.
there.
I'm a
At King
fucking
Road, the
disappointed.
two right lanes are closed from Kirby to Major
What
Mackenzie. They
about
closed off
one
the
key
two left
reboot,
lanes.
man? This
And
whole
then at the
key won't
407,
work.
3 left lanes are closed because of earthwork. The northbound Pine Valley ramp to eastbound 407 is closed for construction right now. Eastbound 401 east of Dixie in the express,
All right.
2 right lanes are closed for